everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Melo TV. I am Peter, and joining me, matching me in red this week, Matt is here.
I know, we gotta stop doing this. It's just coming up on 5 years podcasting. There's a weird in sync thing. But I'm wearing this is my Johnny Gargano whole shebang t-shirt. So
I'm wearing a shirt from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Arg.
Indeed.
Mutant Enemy. That was my favorite part of Buffy. Not just because it was the end, but because...
My favorite part of Buffy was the logo for the production company at the end of it.
I think you just hurt Pete's soul.
Because it was just so lo-fi with the Arg. It's great.
I liked when they actually did that in the episode. Tara did it. She had a little puppet in her finger, and she went "grr arg." That was in season 6.
There's also, I think, was that on the Serenity too?
Oh yeah.
It's the first time I saw it on the movies. And Cabin in the Woods.
I don't remember if you see the actual logo on the movie, but it's definitely in Firefly. It's on all the Whedon TV shows.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I've seen it on the big screen. If I did, it had either been Serenity or Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, I actually remember. Because it's one thing I always notice whenever there's an Abrams produced movie and you see the bad robot, which I knew from Lost.
Mm.
But hey, bad robots and mutants. Also, Connor's here too.
It is. I'm not wearing red. I'm wearing. It's a black T-shirt and it's plain. It's just a plain black T-shirt.
How punk rock
are you? Boring.
I like how he checked when the color of his hoodie on top is also the same.
Well, that's what I thought. Well, I know I've got a black hoodie on, but I can't remember what's underneath because, I put a T-shirt on a few hours ago. I thought, what was that?
Not a heart, I'll tell you that much.
Well, no, obviously.
Nah. So, no red in the clothes, but the ginger hair kind of makes up for it, I suppose.
It does. So,
here we are. We talk about DC Comics on this show. Coming up on this week, it is a stack show. 10 books are on the list. Actually, no, 11 books are on the list. I read 10 books, but there's 11 total. We got Man of Steel number 3, we got Hawkman number 1, we get Plastic Man number 1, we have Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Batgirl versus Riddler number 1, we have Detective Comics 982, we have The Flash 48, we have Mr. Miracle number 9, we have Titans Special number 1, New Superman, The Justice League of China number 24, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 46, and finally Sideways number 5 to round out the show. So it's jam-packed.
I read all of those.
That's right, you read all 11. Matt read more than you did.
Well, I have 10 and a half.
More than that. Yeah, but, more than that later.
Still,
yeah.
Too many books.
No, week 2. I mean, this is kind of a one-off. Week 2, this one in particular, but it's
the one-shots that are boosting it up.
Yeah. So that is all the books on the docket, but we do actually have a fair bit of news this week as well. Exciting news, notable news to scream and sing about. So that's coming up, yes. So that's what we'll get into first of all. We'll do that right away. I shall nix the small talk segment, as I think this episode will be long enough without any small talk segments.
Yeah. World Cup's on. What else happened this week?
Highlight was Portugal v Spain. That's all you need to know.
Shut up! No World Cup talk. No World Cup. I hate it. I've muted on Twitter. On Twitter, it filters anything with World Cup mentioned in it.
I love that. From now on, I'm just not going to hashtag it.
Yep. I'm just going to tweet it at Pete.
I put variations of what's muted. You can't get past my filters.
Oh, I'll get past those filters.
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
Fine, I'll just mute the pair of you for like 2 weeks then.
All right. Joke's on you. You tweet way more than either of us.
you do, yeah.
Yes, I do. But hey.
I'm just going to say, waking up this morning and seeing Iceland and the crowd doing the clap.
Gets you going for the day, right?
Yeah, it does. It gives me goosebumps, and I'm not even from Iceland. So, it's super cool.
Nah, in my head canon, Iceland only do one sport, and that is ice hockey, because of the villains in Mighty Ducks too.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how they have enough people to do more than one sport, frankly. Well, they were talking about the fact they were playing Argentina this morning, and Argentina's capital has 45 times the population of Iceland's entire country. I'm like, how have they got enough people to be a team at the World Cup?
Iceland sounds nice and quiet. Sounds nice and peaceful.
Yeah, it's also
Much
very
like-
expensive.
Yeah, except it's very volcanic though. Like
That is true. There's some dangerous natural disasters waiting to
It's
happen.
pretty bleak. Yeah.
But there's a reason why the Nordic peoples settled Iceland over Greenland, because Greenland's just a wasteland of ice and tundra. But as they say in Mighty Ducks 2, Greenland's covered with ice, but Iceland's actually quite nice.
Covered in green.
Yeah,
I believe that was the joke in the movies that they're covered
It's
in
more
the
brown,
opposite.
to be honest.
I haven't seen Mighty Ducks 2 in quite some time, even though it's the best of the series.
I remember it well. Besides, you're burying the lead. E3 happened this week. That was way more important than this World Cup bollocks.
Yeah, but that was like a full week ago now, so I've forgotten.
Resident Evil 2 Remake got announced and shown. That is the biggest news of the
Like
week.
a year ago, wasn't it?
What?
I love how video game people get so excited over remakes, but you say you're remaking a movie and people lose their mind.
Oh, it's a different ballgame, Matt, because in a video game,
Sure.
because technology moves forward and they were so hindered in the 90s with what the tech could do, now it opens up all these possibilities. It's so pretty. Cyberpunk 2077 also up there on my highly anticipated games that were shown essentially for the first time.
Yeah.
There was a trailer like 5 years ago, but it wasn't really showing the game itself. It was just kind of a taster.
Yeah. Well, this
Okay.
was just a trailer as well of the game, but
It was, but it was all in game, so it was more of a representation of what we'll see in the
yeah.
in the game. Especially going with all the people who have seen it behind closed doors and are telling us about it. Also, Last of Us 2 looks fantastic, and yeah, we'll see. I don't care about World Cup, so I'm now making Matt suffer because he doesn't even understand half the crap I'm saying
Sorry,
right now.
I just tuned you. I've got the football on the other screen, so
You're the
I was
worst.
watching, Peru almost just scored. It was pretty close. And
Shut
nice
up!
little
We're not
backseat.
We're not talking about World Cup or football, right? That's not
I'm
happening.
just going to interject something
now-
into every book just to.
And now in
piss
news
people.
that Connor doesn't care about, CM Punk lost terribly.
Oh, I heard about this again.
Oh my god, somehow it was more embarrassing than being choked out in a minute 33 seconds.
Was it quicker?
No, it went all 3 rounds, but he looked lost. Dude's got a hell of a chin. He got punched in the face like 8 or 9 times and didn't go down once.
dear.
I don't know if that's great for his brain, but he's got a great heart. It
Yeah.
was embarrassing. The main event though was Romero versus Whitaker, and those two dudes, like Robert Whitaker broke his hand in the second round and finished the fight and won. So went another 3 rounds after that. Ridiculous. So yeah.
Yeah, I have no vested interest in MMA. I happen to have a history with the silliness that is wrestling. So therefore,
Yes.
I have an interest in CM Punk and his
had it not been
antics.
for that main event with Whitaker and Romero, it would have been a wasted $65. Because let's be real, I bought it because Punk was fighting, and the main event more than worth the purchase. So it saved the day.
I'll be honest, I am shocked Matt has not somehow mentioned that he was on stage with Newfound Glory.
Yeah, I was
I was
waiting.
waiting.
for Matt to
I
push
was
you back.
waiting. So, but yeah, I got pulled on stage with my favorite band last night. I was shocked. Tried not to make a fool of myself, but we all know how difficult that is for me.
Do you know, I think it's funny that I feel like more than not, Matt wants to cut down the length of the show, but the time that I say this, not do the small talk, he immediately rebels and throws in small talk because he just has to rebel.
I did it initially to make a joke because I know you don't like sports.
Yes.
So we're supposed to move on, and then Connor took that.
Said one thing, and then Pete jumped in with E3.
Because I fight fire with fire. I'm not having all this stupid sports talk.
But yeah. So, anyways, as I told my wife, greatest moment of my life. Sorry, our wedding was cool, but it's not going on stage and singing with Newfound Glory. She understands. So.
Any future children? Sorry, no.
No, they
not as
said
good.
that until the birth of our child one day. This tops it. I'm sorry.
Children are awful, Matt. It'll be a miserable day. You'll be waiting in the hospital all day. Your wife will be all sticky for the rest of the day. The whole thing. So it's an unpleasant experience.
You realize it's not like having an alien in you where it first.
It should be. It would be more entertaining. It'd be a fun day at the hospital if it was.
I mean, some people's fun are other people's horrors, I guess. By the way,
it's just a fun story. When I was born, my birthday, that was the night of the World Cup final, and the story I was often told is my father. He got very excited at one of the goals, and I think almost sent about 3 women into labour who were just in the waiting room in shock.
So was that the last time England was really good?
Oh no, that was a Brazil game. That was,
okay.
England has been good in a long, long time.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the '60s, they never shut up about it. Trust me.
Yeah.
No. Although something has dawned on me though. If I ever do find myself next to someone in labour, I will be cracking alien jokes. That is just my way.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Of course, as long as it's not Prometheus jokes, you're good.
Oh God, yeah. I wouldn't disrespect it like that. If I'm going to say things that might worry her, I'm at least going to do it with some class and some style.
Hey, you don't want to mention anything about fingering the holes till it brings.
That was Alien Covenant. I'll have you know.
Yeah. So.
Although that's a good thing. It was worse, but still.
Anyways, news.
News. Yes, comics news.
Yes.
Comics news happened. All right, so. I was actually torn for what to start with this week, but I went, because there was 2 really big things, but I went with the Geoff Johns side first. Right, let's talk about Geoff Johns and what's changed with him this week. Because he has stepped down as the COO of DC Entertainment. I was going to say comics, but it's not comics, it's the entertainment specifically.
Yeah, that's what got me confused, because I didn't know, the way they were wording it, it was, what's her name, was the president.
Diane Nelson.
Diane Nelson was the president of DC, right? Mm-hmm. And then he was like president of operations, but certain news sites kept leaving that out, kept calling him DC Comics president. And I was like, I'm getting lost here, guys.
Oh yeah, he's not president. He was never referred to as president in any way. He was the chief creative officer.
Yeah.
Or chief operating officer, whatever one it is. I think it was CCO.
Chief creative.
Yeah.
It was the same job that Lasseter had over at Disney.
Yeah, so he is stepping down from that position. And I actually, as much as this sounds like a demotion, I actually think he's ecstatic about this, and I'm going to explain why in a second. But he's stepping down, and he's getting a new contract with DC overall as a writer, as a comic book writer, which means first and foremost there'll be more Geoff Johns comics on a regular basis again. So we'll talk about that, the news that comes with that in a minute. And he's also going to still work on movies, but more in a creative capacity. Specifically, he is going to be writing and producing the Green Lantern Corps movie. He's actually working on the script for that. The reason why I think he's happy about this is because I think he is creative. I think the fact that he was still forcing his way in to write Doomsday Clock, even though technically he's supposed to be an executive in a boardroom somewhere, shows that he is passionate about that side of things, and that maybe this CCO position wasn't actually suited for him ever.
No, but you can tell that he shepherded a lot of Rebirth and re-put, if that was his mission, was to put DC back at the forefront of comics, mission accomplished. Yeah, but now he can hand the baton to whoever.
I don't think
right?
when they first announced he was going to be CCO and he was going to be taking care of the movies with the film side of things, I think we all expected bigger and better things from that. And to his credit, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's even had time to even have that materialise. He was hired in that role when Justice League was already deep in production.
And anything he's had an impact on, we'll see in Aquaman and Shazam, and that's it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, you could. I always feel like bringing Whedon to Justice League was a Johns move, and I feel that Wonder Woman was a lot of Johns too, because Wonder Woman had a completely different tone than either Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman.
I don't know how much of that was Johns though, because that was before he had such a considerable say.
If anything, he'll have more of an impact on Wonder Woman 2 than the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those images from Aquaman.
Set photos from it looks very bright.
Yeah.
We got photos from both Aquaman and Wonder Woman 2 this week.
Yeah.
Aquaman looks like my kind of thing. Like, it's, Aqua Bro and Momoa. You have, what's his name, playing Ocean Master with a man bun, weirdly.
Oh, Patrick
Wilson.
Yeah, him. That dude.
It looks great. I'm excited. I feel Juan is a gifted filmmaker, but sometimes he whiffs, This I don't think is going to be one.
I'm a lot on the cautious side. Like, I don't hate anything I'm seeing, but nothing's like sort of grabbing me as like the exact visual style that I would have picked for it. So
I'm just not excited about it. I don't really care that it's there. I mean, I'm not like, oh, this is going to be awful, like I was going into some of the other movies.
Yeah, I definitely think it benefits from no Star Wars in December. I feel like this will be the big tentpole.
We all benefit from no Star Wars in December, Matt.
Well, he's only seen Solo, so
Nor will I. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, we're getting a trailer at Comic-Con. They said yesterday.
That doesn't surprise me. In fact, I mean, this is obviously Marvel, but they're announcing the title of Avengers 4 at Comic-Con as well, they said.
Yeah.
They said that's basically all they're doing is announcing the title, but...
Yeah, because they haven't got a panel this year at Comic-Con, have they? Usually they have a big one.
Yeah, I'm hoping that means Comic-Con starts not regressing, that's a bad term, but starts going back to more comic book centric stuff instead of the big Hall H, blockbuster.
I don't think that's what's happening here, Matt. I feel like the reason why they're skipping it is because everything about the movie is a spoiler, so they just don't want to have anyone on stage talking about it.
They're not the first one that I've seen. Like HBO's skipping Hall H this year too.
There's always a few notable ones, though. I feel like that happens every year. There's usually, one or two that'll skip, and then they'll be back next year. And
I mean, Star Wars had its premiere in '77 there, so like it's always been a part of it, and there's a room for that. But I feel like you have to wait 2 days in line to get into Hall H days. I feel it's starting to come to an end.
I feel like we're going to get a similar thing like we do with streaming services. Where everyone wants their own thing and do it all for themselves. Disney have got D23 now.
Yeah, which is every 2
things
years.
like that, where and we'll see that more in the future, where people want their own events rather than sharing the spotlight. To go back to, we mentioned E3 at the start, EA have shifted away, and it's still kind of E3, but it's like the day before, it's a separate venue. They're trying to make it their own
that
thing.
would be
It's
interesting
awful.
if they'll have their own sort of live stream panels, like on the run up to Comic Con, all built around it as
and
part of the
that's it.
hype. But
Even
separately.
the people who are at E3, they're still announcing a lot in the week before, so it's not just this slow.
Well, it doesn't get lost
at once.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I actually hate, by the way. I prefer it that's what I like about E3 is how concentrated it is with all the new stuff.
It's like
No, I get
it's
that.
like going to the supermarket. He's like, I'll take something from here. I'll take something from here.
Yep.
It's all in one spot.
Yeah, but they like having the cycle for a week rather than just, here's 5 minutes.
I can see how, but I don't think we're there yet, though. I think this Comic Con is still going to be mostly movie and TV news. May not be
May
not be Marvel,
like
DC, TV and movie news, but I think there's going to be a lot of TV and movie news.
But I feel like you can feel the winds of change coming through, like the breeze is starting. And look at DC with the last stream that they put up, with when Snyder was spoiling everything that was coming up. That wasn't at WonderCon. That was at was it? I don't think it was at WonderCon. It was a smaller.
No, it was C2E2, was it not?
I think
you
so.
might be right. Yeah.
So they're kind of spreading it around. So because the big Rebirth one was at WonderCon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking of.
I think they're like right next to each other, aren't they? They're like 2 weeks apart.
They're real close. So
I think whatever event DC streams something like that from, it just depends what event falls closest to when they have to solicit things. That's kind of what the decision maker is. But yeah, so anyway, back to Wonder Woman 2. I think the images in that look quite good. Steve's back, which is interesting, but we'll see. We'll see. All that
we don't know the context.
We got the latest one was the image of Wonder Woman herself
in costume. Yeah.
And in costume, it's so bright. Like,
it is. No, it's good. It's really popping, and I like that. The fun thing they've done where one of her regular outfits is matching one of Linda Carter's disguises from the TV show. It's a nice little homage.
I wonder if they're gonna touch on the weird '70s where she dropped the costume and became like a women's lib spokesperson.
That could be in the backstory, because that was set in '84, but that could be mentioned. Like maybe
something that she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, so like she stopped being a superhero and became like, an actual spokesperson for whatever, and then this is what gets her back into it. It'd be cool. But let's see. Anytime I can see Gal Gadot, I'm a happy boy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, to bring this back around to the news at hand, which is Geoff Johns. So, he's going to be working on the Green Lantern Corps movie, but it's more creative, it's more direct, it's more hands-on. He's writing the script for it. He's not just kind of moving pieces around the board in terms of who's on what and ushering things. So, he's going to be writing that movie. And then the comic side, so first and foremost, we're getting more Geoff Johns comics on a regular basis. Happy days. This pleases all three of us, right?
Yes.
It's just on the subject, we're going to have Johns, Bendis, at the same time. We might have Grant Morrison as well if rumours pan out, all at the same time.
This is like when you had Wade, Rucka, Johns, Morrison.
Yeah, let's get Rucka back.
This is a little weirder because Bendis and Johns they were each other's opposite number.
They were.
Yeah.
They had the same sort of role at each company.
I remember they made the joke that they couldn't figure out who was the evil twin because they shaved. They're like, so who's evil twin? We can't tell. But yeah.
But of course, Johns is the loyal one who has never faltered from his allegiance, so he's still at DC.
He did
Yeah,
some
but
stuff
he's
at Marvel
also-
at the start, though, didn't he?
Aye, before
Yeah.
he became the DC guy.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
Once he was given Infinite Crisis and he got to shape the universe that he held dear, you know, I feel like Bendis just got, you know, he ran out of things to do because Marvel. I feel like Johns has always been like a bonus to editorial, whereas Bendis has been kind of hindered by editorial. Where Marvel's always kind of setting up these events and he's always writing those set events. Whereas Johns kind of set the event, and then it went off from there.
Yeah, so we actually have concrete news into what he's doing. We know he's doing the Three Jokers with Fabok, right? So that was known anyway, but now it's confirmed it's happening soon, right? That's a project he's actively working on. Obviously, he's still working on Doomsday Clock at its current schedule. But coming this fall, sometime later this year, I doubt it'll be September because we're getting the solicits for that next week, and we'd have probably heard more concrete information by now if it was. But coming this fall, we are getting a ongoing Shazam book by Geoff Johns and a yet-to-be-named artist. So that is pretty big news. Obviously, it kind of follows on from the backups from the Justice League book that he worked on over the New 52. So that's pretty cool. No, I'm pumped with this. This kind of ties up. You remember when Didio said, "Oh no, we've got a Shazam team in mind. We were just waiting for them to free up." This kind of lines up with that statement.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And we know it's probably not Gary Frank because Gary Frank's
Still on
kinda
Doomsday
busy.
Clock, yeah.
Yeah.
And once he's done with that,
so-
we're going back to Batman Earth 1, I assume.
Yeah.
Because that's also on Johnsy's new website. Is Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 is like still there in the schedule.
Yes.
So
So.
I saw a dream pick this week actually for Shazam with Johns.
Who?
Samney.
Don't do that to me.
Right?
I only have so much blood. Oh, man.
But no, there's a lot of good. I mean, Doc Shaner would be a great pick for that book.
Like if I can't get Somni on Superman, then Shazam is the next best.
So, somebody did that one little Superman thing in the the digital anthology one that they did.
The Adventures of Superman, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did that one little, it's a little 10-page thing, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that might be all we ever get of him on Superman, and that's sad.
Nah, he's gonna jump ship. You know, Bendis started the wave, so.
I get that, but he's not a Bendis man. He's a Wade man.
He's not. Yeah. I'm just trying to ride the goodwill, the good feelings here, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Got to hope for it. Will it into existence.
You know, I love this cycle when it comes to comics, where one company starts doing really well, so the other company has to start finding new, like, creators, writers, and artists and stuff. So you get like this balance back and forth. Because I guess at Marvel right now, there's a lot of really good up and coming guys.
It's where the fresh talent comes from, isn't it? It's why we ended up with like Snyder at DC.
Yeah,
it's from that as well.
Snyder,
DC were like, well, we've got to do something.
Yeah. Lemire,
Tom King
Gail
even.
came in.
Tom
King,
yeah.
Seeley, like he's been doing comics for a while, but really, hit his stride over at DC. So I like this. So like, who's ever behind Somni at Marvel is going to get their chance now, which is always a cool thing.
Yeah. Well, no, you're saying it as if it's a done deal that Somni's coming over.
Well, no, I'm just saying like because I haven't seen him do a Marvel book in a while. He's done a lot of like smaller creator-owned stuff. Independence. So.
I mean, it was just a complete like fantasy, like, oh, this is the dream artist for the book. But I mean, to give it some credence, if I want to try and like sort of build it up here, is that maybe they wanted the team to be free, and Samney was free when he finished his Marvel work, and that's why he's been kind of just dilly-dallying doing other things, whilst they're waiting for Johns. So now that Johns is free, I don't know.
I feel like you're reaching a bit.
I'm reaching. I know I'm reaching, but you never know.
Once Wade's Marvel stuff's done, if they could hash things out, and they could bring Wade back.
Oh, we all have the dream of Wade coming back, man.
That's not going to happen. Wade's got his own stuff going on. I think once he's finished with the Marvel stuff, that's it. He just goes full indie.
Well, see, he's also said, though, like, circumstances could be right for him to make a return to DC.
He has said that.
Yeah.
Like, so... I'm not that I have my hopes up, but just him writing anything at DC, I'm okay with.
So we got Shazam book ongoing coming later this year. So we're going to have Shazam ongoing. We're going to have presumably a mini with the Three Jokers thing, and then Doomsday Clock. So we're going to have 3 Johns books.
And then, what about that creator-owned?
Well, it's not exactly creator, and this is an interesting thing. So he's got a pop-up imprint, because DC needs more imprints.
There we go.
But we have the Killing Zone, the logo of which is the classic DC logo with the stars around it.
The bullet, they used to call it.
Yeah, with the KZ in it, of course. So that's coming as well, and it says specifically that it's going to be for focusing on new and lesser-known DC characters. So it's still going to be DC characters, but it'll be like your C-listers and D-listers and...
Which Johns has a penchant for.
Yeah. What I think this is, though, is at the moment, over the past couple of years, Johns has had quite a say over the line as a whole from his position. He can dictate quite a lot, even though he hasn't been actually writing much. From Rebirth onwards, he's kind of been dictating the broad strokes. And I feel like, okay, so he's got this... It feels harsh to call it a demotion, but he's losing that power over the whole line, because now that'll shift over to Jim Lee, and they're like, okay, but you can still have something where you've got control, where you can do everything that you want, and that'll go through this imprint.
Yeah. So when it says pop up, I'm imagining it's like Young Animal, because that's what Young Animal is called. Yeah. For a little bit, like that means there's not necessarily a limited amount of time it's going to be around. But it's not like Vertigo, where it's going to be an ongoing...
Yeah, forever.
Expected for a few years, maybe.
Exactly.
No, it sounds... I mean, I still think he's going to have a big say in what's going on in the DCU in general. I don't think they're going to ignore him because
No. But I feel like he'll have slightly less say in that he won't be the one shaping the ongoing direction like he is now with Doomsday Clock. Once that's done, I feel it'll be someone else's turn to be the one driving the main direction.
Yeah. So here we are. So we're getting Shazam, we're getting a pop-up imprint, and Connor alluded to it there. Jim Lee is the one who's actually taken the CCO
Matt said it earlier.
Position.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I missed that. Sorry. Yeah, and it's worth mentioning he's not losing his co-publishing role either. He's still doing that with video. Yeah. So that was the news.
Because Jim Lee needed even less time to draw.
That just means they won't be doing it at all now, probably.
No, probably won't.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? I don't think it is.
I think it's a bit of a shame, and I think it's again where this probably only has a limited amount of time in this role. In the same way that Johns ended up being a limited amount of time, because Jim Lee, again, much as he's very creative, he wants to draw. That's why he keeps taking on so many projects, even though he can't finish them.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder, you want someone who's passionate for all the characters in the world and the brand, but not necessarily someone who actually is a writer or artist themselves, because that they might be pulled back to that. So maybe you want someone who's talentless when it comes to actually making things, but understands it and loves it enough to right the ship. Does that make sense?
There's a mean joke for someone that I don't like, that writes a certain book that Connor also doesn't like. He must not be named.
Oh,
all right.
You really think, no, don't give him that job.
When Pete said kind of talentless, that's kind of what you want.
That's Connor's favourite book, though. What are you talking about?
I know.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so that's all the big news we have this week. We got other big news. We got event announcement news this week for later in the year.
Because of course we did. We couldn't have had this over 2 weeks.
So get your tissues ready, folks, because I think this is an important part. This is an important moment in the history of this show, because we're going to be getting to the first ever crisis that we have as a podcast. This is the first time in the duration of this show that we have a crisis to talk about.
It was only a matter of time, right?
It was only a matter of time, which is why it's an important milestone. It's like, oh no, there's a crisis to talk about on the show now.
There's always a crisis down the line.
So, yes, they've announced Heroes in Crisis is a 7-issue event series. It's starting in September, the final week of September, the 26th. This is Tom King and Clay Mann who are working on this. This is what Sanctuary has turned into. This is the Sanctuary story that King promised at the start of the year when he announced that. Which, in retrospect, now feels like a really early and kind of... And I get that it was relevant to the event that we're speaking at, which is probably why they did it that way. But it just, in terms of the usual comic book news cycle, it feels very early now. But yeah, so I'm going to read you the text I've got here. There's a new kind of crisis facing the heroes of the DC universe, ripped from the real-world headlines by CIA operative turned comics writer Tom King. I love how they put that in there. How does a superhero handle PTSD? Welcome to Sanctuary, an ultra-secret hospital for superheroes who have been traumatized by crime fighting and cosmic combat. But something goes inexplicably wrong when many patients wind up dead, with two well-known operators as the prime suspects, Harley Quinn and Booster Gold. It is up to the DC Trinity of Superman, Wonder Woman and Batman to investigate, but can they get the job done in the face of overwhelming opposition? So there's also a fact sheet that came with this that I'll read in a minute, but let's just talk about that so far.
Just on the bit of the adding in the CIA thing, was this announced when he was on TV last week? Because obviously I know Clay Mann was there with him.
It was supposed to, I think I was confused. I thought it was supposed to be, then it wasn't. But then I wasn't sure if they put out clips of the interview the day before it actually aired. So the announcement didn't come yet. It was weird. Because to me it felt like it came in the day after the TV interview.
Well, because of it being on late night, so he was on Late Night with Seth Meyers, that's the late NBC show. It's the one that's on after the Tonight Show. Yeah. So it technically came on, he was on Tuesday night, so it technically came on Wednesday morning. Right? So if they, depending on...
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. On Monday, there was clips of the interview already up, so I thought it had already aired. So I didn't think they announced anything with it. Because I watched like a 5-minute clip of it on Monday.
I don't think... What?
No, because he didn't... Yeah, no, because they shoot those shows day of. So there's...
No, I'm telling you, there was
seen it on Monday.
No, there was a clip on Monday. What was the he was specifically talking about? It was because he pulled out the image of Mr. Miracle and said
with him on that.
He's like, hey, this is me, right? This talk show in the comic, that's me. That clip was up on Monday night.
I'm gonna just
because I watched it.
I'm looking this up. Yeah.
Someone shared it on Twitter and I saw
it. YouTube tells me that went up 3 days ago.
Yeah, me too.
So you're misremembering the days.
No, I can't be. This is impossible. Yeah. This came before everything happened. I can't be misremembering this because I remember thinking at the time, this is weird. Why is it not announced anything yet?
This was published on YouTube on Wednesday the 13th. That clip.
Maybe that's not the exact one that I saw then, but there was something.
The one that you're talking about with him showing this is me. That's that clip. I'm looking
at it right now. Yeah, but it could be
now.
up on multiple hosts. It could be on multiple channels.
No.
And it may not even be YouTube. It was shared on Twitter.
You're just misremembering.
Yeah, because everything is he went on Tuesday. Because I'm looking at his Twitter, and it was at 2:09 p.m.
Also, even if I'm wrong about this, he was still sharing images from the set and being backstage on Monday. They recorded it on Monday.
No, because it says, for his part, King tweeted out a photo of himself just before the show's 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time taping in New York City, and that was on June 12th.
Yeah, I'm seeing this. An article here. DC Comics writer Tom King appeared on the Late Night with Seth Meyers Tuesday night.
When did they announce Crisis on Heroes in Crisis? Was that Wednesday then?
On Wednesday. Yes.
Okay, I'm a day forward then, or a day behind. My point remains.
This is what Matt's saying. It was late Tuesday night was the airing of the show, so the news cycle didn't pick it up until the Wednesday morning and do all the stuff with it.
Okay, but why did we not hear about the internet? The internet doesn't care about the news cycle.
Just because all the websites don't run with it till the Wednesday.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of these sites have if they didn't get the press materials they couldn't post about it till Wednesday, they're not going to, that's just ethics.
There's something fishy about all this. There's something fishy about the timeline of all this.
I think your lack of sleep is affecting your perception of reality.
I slept well this week. I slept well. Like maybe I was a day behind, and I was mistaken Monday and Tuesday for Tuesday and Wednesday. But the interview aired, and then we didn't actually get the news of Heroes in Crisis until sometime in the middle of the next day. It was weird.
You started telling us you're seeing the Shadow King, and we have to intervene.
I'm just saying it's weird. There's something fishy about the timing here. It doesn't add up to me. That's all I'm saying.
That's a quality Legion reference, right? From someone that's only seen 2 episodes.
That was a fine Legion reference, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Good.
All right. Anyway, who do I blame for even going down that tangent?
You for being wrong.
Uh, that's Pete's first shirt for the show. I swear it was on a Monday.
To be fair, I also saw other people on Twitter after the interview aired asking, did we not get anything announced then? I saw other people saying that on.
Well, no,
after it aired.
I questioned. Oh, was this in that interview? Because I didn't watch all it. I didn't say it was. I said, oh, was it? And you went, oh, I don't know. But then you went down the whole day path.
So we don't actually know if it was announced in that interview. Then that's just speculation at this point.
Yeah, I haven't seen the whole interview.
Neither have I. And I like Seth Meyers.
So. Why are you arguing with me then saying, oh, it didn't air till midnight and therefore it wouldn't be picked up until the next day?
It was possible.
Because, Peter, they don't film that till Tuesday. So unless you have a time sphere, there's no way you saw it on Monday.
That's what we were arguing about.
No. That was early. That was a different argument. We'd moved on to a new thing after that. When I was questioning, okay, why was it not brought up on the internet until the next day? And you're... doesn't matter. You know what? We're ending this now. We're done.
That's fine.
We're moving on.
Heroes in Crisis. What was that fact sheet?
You want the fact? I'll give you the facts. Here's the facts. Cannot be disputed. Right. This was curated by Tom King. These facts were written by him. Sanctuary is a safe place for superheroes to explore the trauma of their violent lives and deal with the other effects of the fight. They come, they rest, they confess, and they move on. Fact number 2. Sanctuary was built 5 years ago when Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman realised that emerging superheroes would sometimes need help dealing with the worst parts of the job. Fact number 3. To the outside world, Sanctuary appears to be a small isolated ranch in rural Nebraska, but under the illusion, the ranch is really a sophisticated futuristic compound based on Kryptonian technology.
It's like Hogwarts.
Fact number 4. It's better than Hogwarts though, because it's Kryptonian.
How dare you.
Fact number 4. Sanctuary is manned solely by robots and holograms. The only real people at Sanctuary are heroes. Fact number 5. I've lost count, but is it number 5? They're not numbered on my list. I'm just doing this. Sanctuary provides a therapy to the heroes of the DC Universe that they need. Number 6. The typical state of Sanctuary ranges from a few days to a few weeks, and on rare occasions, even longer. Number 7. Sanctuary is a secret. The general public do not know of its existence. I feel like we already got that from another one. But number 8. To protect the privacy of the heroes, the Trinity discourages them from talking about Sanctuary, though it is an open secret that many heroes have visited the facility. The first rule of Sanctuary is you do not talk about Sanctuary.
Second rule of Sanctuary, you do not talk about Sanctuary.
Number 9. Only 3 people know who goes to Sanctuary. Batman, Wonder Woman and Superman. No records of the visits are kept. Number 10. Batman sees Sanctuary as a necessity. Wonder Woman sees it as a kindness. Superman sees it as good. I feel like Superman's is like... I feel like they had something for Batman and Wonder Woman, didn't know what does Superman think? No, nothing fits his character. It's good.
Superman's never sounded more like Crypto. It's very good.
It's like, Batman's like, it's a necessity. That feels very Batman. Wonder Woman, it's a kindness. That feels like Wonder Woman.
I'm gonna... Being that Superman always errs to the side of the people, I'm going to say that it's a common good, is what they meant to say.
Okay.
Like, it's good for everybody.
Because it sounds oddly simplistic when it gets to Superman's part of that.
I thought that too, and I was just like,
And then the last fact is, and now everyone who was at Sanctuary is dead. And then technically there's one more, but the last one is just learn more about Sanctuary and Heroes in Crisis #1 coming in September. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This definitely ties into the Booster story, right?
Booster's
had his brain broken.
Booster's there because of what happened in that Batman story. Absolutely.
And presumably he's the only survivor from whoever was there at the time, which is why he's a suspect.
Yeah, him and Harley. I don't know if Harley was there as a patient or if she was there as a...
Yeah, so I'm feeling like because no one treats. Remember, it's holograms and robots.
So they're there.
Yeah.
When it says everyone who was at Sanctuary is dead, I think that's a mistake because we know Ivy went there, and I highly doubt Ivy's dead.
Well, no, I think it means everyone who was there at the moment, right now, rather than who.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It was clearer in the paragraph. The wording's a little bit murkier.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was murky at all.
Everyone who was at Sanctuary is dead.
Yeah, like who was at there, who was there when this happened, not who has ever been there.
All right, fine. Shut up.
So how I feel the story's going to go is everyone's going to be blaming Harley, right? Because clearly her history. And then it's going to start looking like it was Booster, But then there's going to be a twist of it was the other person that was there. And it's going to be really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shades of Identity Crisis.
Yeah, like this is the thing. As soon as they announced this, I saw people on Twitter going, "Oh, how many relaunches are happening this time?" And I'm like, "Calm down, people. It has the word crisis in the title. It is not that kind of crisis. Yeah. Not to say that there won't be books spinning out of it at the end.
It's the quiet crisis.
Yeah, it's just the quiet. Yeah. It's the personal crisis. It's the personal. Because the whole thing, like everything Tom King said about it, it's like dealing with their emotions, dealing with their tragedy, and how they cope through all that. And it's a murder mystery at the core as well, which sounds kind of nice. So I'm into it. I'm actually kind of pumped for this. I feel like Clay Mann's a great artist as well. I think this type of story is something that serves King well. We have 7 issues of this. No, I'm game.
Jurgens has already complimented Clay Mann on some of the sketches
and
he's seen about Booster.
So. Can we point out that Kite Man is on the cover?
Kite Man is on it. There's a lot of people on the cover. It's worth mentioning that Superman appears to be holding a certain mask of one psycho pirate in his hands.
Which is cool, but Kite Man.
Hell yeah.
Kite Man could totally die in this though.
He could.
He is not off the table for a murder. That's all I'm saying.
No, he's definitely not. He is exactly the right level of murderable.
I also don't think King would do that. I think he likes Kite Man too much.
No, I think that's exactly why he does that. Is he's made people care about Kite Man just enough over the last couple of years that it's like, that's prime for a killing.
Yeah. Or of course the reveal that he's actually the murderer. It's always a possibility too. But yeah, so we have a big DC event, a big 7-issue event with a crisis in the title, and Kite Man's on the cover. Let's just let that sink in.
7 issues is such a DC thing to do, too.
It is,
yeah.
I love it.
Because they still do 6 most of the time, but every so often you get an event that's 7 issues.
It's only ever the events that are 7 as well. Like all the stories, 6 or 12 usually, but events get a 7.
So yeah, that's Crisis or Heroes in Crisis. I always say Crisis first by instinct, because I'm going to say Crisis on Infinite Earths, but no, Heroes in Crisis is what we're getting. So Tom King Clay Mann, it starts at the end of September, so we'll have that in solicits next week, which we'll be getting on Monday. So good stuff. I'm excited. I'm actually kind of intrigued by this. More big stuff coming. So next up, we've got some smaller things now to deal with. Batgirl's getting a new costume. Starting in issue 27, which is the September issue, which again will be in the solicits. The costume is designed by Sean Gordon Murphy, and it is based on the Batgirl Year 1 design. It's a little bit different though, it's not the exact same, but you can see some influences here or there.
I definitely see some influence of that Murphy from White Knight, her costume there.
Yeah.
So, and it looks good. I mean, I know a lot of people are big fans of the Burnside get-up, but I can take it or leave it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm glad
I like it well enough.
I'm glad to be getting away from it. I've never liked the leather jacket look to it. That's never.
I have no problem with it.
Been my thing. I don't think this one's perfect. I'm not sure how I feel about the bat logo on her chest, like going all the way to the sides.
That doesn't bother me because the notes say
it turns into a backpack.
Yeah, so it's got a functional purpose as well.
Yeah.
The thing I'm not a fan of, the only thing I think I'm not a fan of on this costume is the ears stick up through the hair. It's like she's wearing a little headband with the ears coming. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I kind of want a cowl if we're doing this, right?
Unless you're. Oh, then again, her and Batman are really the only ones with cowls. All the other Bat characters don't have them.
No, I know, but I feel like she's had a cowl for so long now that.
Yeah, it just feels right.
It feels like it harkens back. Whenever we get a flashback, remember Summer Alive when we got the flashbacks to her early days as Batgirl? It feels very similar to that. The colour scheme, I like the colour scheme. It's it's the grey with the yellow and the blue cape. I do like that. And the whole premise of this is that I've got some text here about the sort of the direction that Muirhead Scott's run is going to be taken here with this. So this is going to be the version of the costume she was working on when she still lived with her dad. That's why it looks so much like the original Batgirl Year 1 outfit. And she's actually living with her dad because she's like tracking down a villain, and she needs to get that's the suit that she's got ready. That's the one that's around. She's got the one at her dad's house that she can grab. So that's why she's wearing it. So it may not be that permanent. This could just be like an arc with this suit.
Could be, but more likely to be like, do you know what? Let's just stick with it.
Very, very possibly, but that's kind of how we end up with it. And she's facing off Grotesque, who was a villain from Simone's run, actually, in the New 52.
Yeah.
And I actually like what they're doing, because apparently, I don't remember too much about Grotesque from that run, but he's changed his MO. His MO is no longer just trying to steal fine art. Now he wants to make it brutally. Batgirl uncovers a string of grisly art pieces constructed out of human body parts at the scenes of various crimes.
Sounds very Hannibal, right?
I was thinking more Seven-esque, but yeah.
No, but it reminds me of something very specific in the Hannibal TV show.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
There was
the one with the cello, I'm thinking.
In Soul's Daredevil run, there was an Inhuman that had the same MMO, where he was going around killing other Inhumans and putting their bodies into strange works of art. So, it's pretty cool MMO for a villain, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like that. Because I think some of my favourite Batgirl stuff of recent years is when she's dealing with a proper like serial killer. You know, when she's dealing with her brother, for example. I really get into that stuff, and I like the idea of like a dark villain kind of contrasting with because I think the thing with Batman and Joker is that Batman's the dark character. So Joker's a very dark character when you look at what he does, but he does it in a very bright, like in your face kind of way. I like that for Batgirl because she is a bit more friendly and cheery and outgoing. You flip it and you have the villain be the dark, sinister, evil looking one, so I like that contrast, so it's good. So yeah, so Mary Head Scott's first story is in Batgirl 25, but her arc starts properly in issue 26, and then that continues into the annual number 2, which are both in August, and then 27's in September. So that's when all this stuff is happening. So 27 is when she gets the new costume, so that is coming, so that's cool. Next up, DC Black Label. We have some dates for a couple of the books and when they're starting. We have Batman the Damned, issue 1, which is the Bryan Azzarello and Lee Bermejo one. The first issue of that is coming September 19th, and then later issues are coming every other month.
I'm really excited about this one. So,
September, November, so on. I don't remember if they said how many issues there were going to be of that. I don't think they said any issue counts back when we got the announcement, because it was just kind of vague. Like, they might be graphic novels, they might be
I
issues.
think they mentioned that one was a mini, but other than that, I don't recall if they
So we have no idea. It could be 3, could be 4 issues, could be more. Because I'm thinking they're big issues as well. I'm thinking they're prestige sized.
They might well be if they're every other month.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Frank Miller and John Romita Jr.'s Superman Year 1 issue 1 will arrive in November. Which we're all looking forward to checking out the first issue of, I'm sure. And then the last one this year is going to be the Other History of the DC Universe issue 1 from John Ridley and an unannounced art team. That is going to be in December. That one will be monthly, whereas the two mentioned previously are every other month. So that's some more concrete details on when we're expecting some of these. Of course, the rest will be coming sometime next year. So there you go. That's the Black Label stuff. Probably just worth to cap off the news with
just on the Black Label stuff. They're actually retroactively adding trades under that label. White Knight was the first one we heard about because Murphy mentioned it. He was quite happy because he gets to put in the original uncensored art versions.
Actually, I'm going to counter that with saying he was just actively excited by saying you get to have the first Joker Harley sex scene with nudity.
But I remember him tweeting about this scene, and he was a little upset that he had to censor it because of the teen.
I'm just saying it's not doing anything to counter my opinion that White Knight, whilst good, is very much just schlock, as him being excited by adding nudity into it. So I'm just letting that sit there.
But I know that there's other ones. I think they're in All Star Superman is going.
All Star Superman, Batman Year 1, which is kind of a weird one to be honest, but they do that in.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Mr. Miracle's trade.
New Frontier is going to be one of the retroactive ones as well. It's getting reprinted under Black Label. So
wow. So it's like legendary kind of stories are going to end up there.
I think it's specifically anything that's Elseworldy or self-contained.
Yeah,
which is why I think Year 1's an odd pick, given that the rest of the choices. But hey-ho.
Yeah. I feel Mr. Miracle probably ends up there.
Very possibly. So we got artists for some of the Zoom in Ink books. So I just want to round off the news by telling you who's on these books. So DC Superhero Girls. No, sorry, I'll skip one. Super Sons, the Polar Shield Project, which is written by Ridley Pearson, is going to have art by Isla Gonzalez. And then we're going to have DC Superhero Girls Spaced Out, written by Shia Fontana. The art on that is going to be Agnes Grabowska. And then you have Batman Overdrive, which is written by Shia Fontana. That's going to have art by Marcelo Di Chiara. And then we have Black Canary Ignite. That's, of course, written by Meg Chabot. That's going to be illustrated by Kara McGee. And then maybe the big one here, Mira Tidebreaker, which is written by Danielle Page, is going to have art by Stephen Byrne. So
Yeah.
they announced all the arts for these. Oh, I've got more. Oh, there's even more. Hold on. Under the Moon, A Catwoman's Tale, written by Lauren Miracle. That's going to have art by Isaac Goodhart. Harley Quinn, Breaking Glass, written by Mariko Tamaki, is going to have art by Steve Pugh. Teen Titans Raven, written by Cami Garcia, is going to be illustrated by Gabriel Piccolo. And that's
that's the one I'm excited about, because that's the one. You know, that new Teen Titans design that me and Matt quite liked, that was going around Twitter a little while ago. You know, Starfire, not the NASA shirt. That's that artist.
I don't remember this, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, great image. I think it was a proof of concept for this, I think, originally.
Yeah, I had found it on Reddit, and then I shared it to Connor.
Yeah.
It's really good. There's a whole series of them that I found that really plays up like them as modern day teens.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's this artist. So looking forward to it. I did see that they're really targeting the bookstore audience with these. They're probably giving them like all novel style covers rather than being like typical trade looking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we knew they were going to target the bookstore, because that was kind of the intent.
It was, but just even in the design of the books and how they're actually putting them out as well. So I thought it was interesting.
So yeah, so that is the news. So fairly packed news this week. Obviously, we'll have solicits next week, maybe a few tidbits in there as well to dive into. But without further ado, I think we can actually get onto the books and start digging our way through these. And we're going to kick off with what I think is the main event, is Man of Steel #3, Brian Michael Bendis writing, with Ryan Sook on art, with 1 page, 2 pages maybe, by Jason Fabok, as per usual.
He needs to pick a name. It's either Jay or Jason. Like... I
think it was Jay in the book. I think I just wrote down Jason because I'm so used to saying that instead.
No, it's fine. But then when you go to look up Jay Fabok, right? Because I just was like, oh, maybe it's a different guy. I don't know. The only thing that comes up is Jason Fabok. So is that he just going through like a...
I think he's changed it to Jay, or he wants to be known as Jay now, but not everyone's updated yet. Not everyone's actually changed over.
Yeah.
So that's why it's doing that.
Okay.
So there you go. I don't know. So Connor's left because he doesn't want to hear this, so we can make fun of him. We can say whatever we want about Connor behind his back now.
I've had a lot of my friends be like, "I can't believe you like Man of Steel. It's not that good." I was like, "It's not over yet. Let's chill. You've literally only got half of it." Like, do you go to the movies and be like, "This movie sucks," and the half? Like,
some people do.
Yeah, and then you just leave, and they're like, "Nah," But this, I felt this was not a centerpiece, but like the stories really got started.
Oh yeah, I like this issue a lot. I really like this issue. I thought this issue had probably one of the darkest moments I've seen in a while in a DC comic.
Dude, I got so sorrowful. I had a rough week. I got hit by anxiety. This book did no favors to help ease that anxiety. So, man, just the art here. Because I don't want to spoil the page, but man, I got sad. Super sad.
I mean, obviously, Rogelzar lands on Earth. He arrives at the fortress, and there's not a lot of dialogue here. It's just him landing there, going into the fortress. He destroys Calyx. First of all, because Calyx is like, "You don't belong here." It's like, quiet, robot. And we end this scene with him finding the bottled city of Kandor. And I'm like, oh dear, what's going to happen? And that's when we cut to Superman, and he's with the Fire Lady that we've been introduced to.
Yeah.
Moore, I think her name is. And he's like, oh yeah, I called someone who's a good investigator. I'm like, oh, this is going to be Batman, and I'm like, and I remembered actually because a few days before this came out, Bendis was like teasing on Twitter that he wrote his first ever Batman scene. So here we are. We had some Batman in this, and this was a fun scene. I like the humour between them. Because Superman accidentally scares her when he appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, sorry, I forgot that your senses wouldn't have, picked me up. In the shadows. And then Batman appears and scares the shit out of her. And he's like, okay, now I did it by accident. You did that on purpose.
On purpose, yeah.
I'm Batman.
It was because that's what he does. He appears from the shadows and then disappears while you're talking to him.
Yeah.
Because he's rude.
Superman also Batman's out of the scene here because they're basically just talking about the fires and they're trying to figure things out.
Yeah, and Superman has this thing where he's like, well, who's ever doing these fires is doing them under my nose, almost like to spite me. But he can't worry about that because he gets like a signal watch call that only like he can hear.
Yeah, from the
and
fortress.
he takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the fortress, and Batman makes a comment to Moore, like, when you have the world's most polite man, and he leaves without saying goodbye, something must be really earth-shattering.
Yeah, so for a good reason.
That shows that Bendis he gets Superman, like what makes him tick, just by showing what Batman thinks of him.
Yeah, and they are as fun. Like when he arrives at the fortress and there's that close up of his eyes, and then he's looking around the destruction. And then eventually, Kara pops. This is the first we see Supergirl in the book, and she pops. Oh, what happened here? And she's asking questions and what's going on. And Clark's like crying about Kandor, and he's like, I was supposed to save them. I was going to bring them back, and I couldn't. And then she looks up, and you get that page, the art, the panel. The broken, the city of Kandor, the bottle's been broken. It's destroyed. It's like a super dark moment. It's like that's an entire city full of people that have just, he's just killed.
And thinking of this like in a meta way, this makes it. I like it when Superman and Kara are like the only Kryptonians. Always having that tease of the bottled city, and we got it in the world of New Krypton, and I thought it was handled well. And they got out of that hole that they dug. By destroying the other Krypton, or New Krypton, rather. Here, now it just returns Kara and Superman to being the only Earthbound Kryptonians. Like, sure, there might be other Kryptonians out in space that got away.
And I feel criminals like the TV show and stuff.
Well, yeah, I feel like the TV show's done a really good job at that. Like, sure, they're the last Kryptonians we know of, but I like that it does there, and I just like how heartbroken Superman is, and Kara, who kind of like she's heartbroken too, but it's a different level for Clark.
Well, you're saying he's more heartbroken?
Yeah, because I feel like he's had a longer time with it. Because her whole timey-wimey, getting here late, she's still a teenager. Like, she actually has memories of all of that, but this was his promise, and now he can't fulfill it because of Zar.
I think you could argue that she actually cares even more because she does have the memories. Like, to her, this is not just like a story of what happened before she was born.
And I feel like, I just feel like Superman's been with it longer. Like, she has all the memories and whatnot, but again, like, I keep going, like, how heartbroken he was that he couldn't fulfill his promise to Kandor. Like, I'll get this figured out, and now he can't. Like, Zar took basically his heritage away, like, what he was meant to do.
Yeah, and of course, Kara asks about Lois and John if they're safe, and he's like, they're not here. Yep. We do get our one, no, it has just one page this time, actually, the tease of the giant head, and we see it open, and we don't get to see who it is. We see someone inside. There was a green light behind them. They look bald, and you hear John ask, "Who is that, Dad?" There is 3 like smaller lights around the circle, which would maybe imply a Brainiac of some kind, but I'm just stretching at that point.
Yeah, there's also a hint of green too. I feel like they want us to think that it's Luthor. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
If it is a Luthor, it's a Luthor from the future that's actually heroic, that rose above the hatred of Kryptonians, and he's here to help Superman. Because while Clark's broken up about Lois and John not being there, it doesn't seem tragic. It seems like they're almost in witness protection.
Yeah, he's not allowed to see them to keep them safe, kind of thing. And he tells Kara to go, make sure your loved ones are okay, and then meet me in Metropolis. And Superman basically comes in, he checks the city, tries to look for whoever, make sure the planet's okay, make sure all the usual spots are okay. And that's when he gets hit, and we get this fantastic action scene. He gets blasted, and he goes across, he goes past the Daily Planet window, and you see Jimmy and Perry look out, and you have Supergirl who actually catches him. And it's like, okay, right, so we've got both supers here. And she's like, okay, so why don't you introduce me to this future dead person that we're going to fight? So that's actually the whole issue. The final page is we finally see Rogozar. He's on top of one of the buildings, and both Superman and Supergirl are flying towards him. And that's the whole issue. It's just, he came to Earth, and he is drawn first blood, and it is a big first blood.
He's not hesitating, and he's not making these big grand statements to the world. It's strictly personal.
Yeah. Because what he did was super dark. I was not expecting Rogozar's thing to obviously he's claiming that he destroyed Krypton, and we're speculating if that's true or not, and he wants to kill them all at the very least. But actually having him kill Kandor City and everyone inside it is like, oh, that is really okay. He's like a proper war criminal now.
Is where Clark names all the people he can remember in there, and he's almost like shell shocked.
Yeah, because he gets to like 5 or 6, but how many people of thousands can you possibly remember? Even if you are Superman.
But the fact that he does, and they're not nameless inhabitants of the city. He knew them, so yeah. Oh man, it was dark. It hit me right in the heart.
I thought it was a great issue. I think this is probably the best of the 3 so far.
Yeah.
Obviously, unlike the last issue, the art is very consistent. You have the 1 page of Fabok in the middle because it's like that.
But it's all Ryan Sook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It nails the action very well.
Yeah, it's not like next level art by any means, but it's Sook. I think always has done a good Superman. So, and it plays to his strength, like you said, with the action, and even the facial expressions in this one were real strong. That scene where he sees all the damage.
Yeah, I think both when Rogol first arrives at the fortress and then when Superman goes back and finds the damage, they're both very similar scenes in that they're both kind of like walking in and sort of witnessing it for the first time.
Yeah, and they're very quiet kind of scenes. Yeah,
there's no dialogue really on any of it. Yeah, so
it's unsettling to say. Like, I'm curious to see where Zar goes, but yeah, I want Superman to just end him. That's it.
That's super good. So that's about we'll rate the book. It's actually a really quick one to talk about because it is essentially just other than the Batman scene, it's Rogol arrives, he wrecks the fortress, he destroys Kandor City. The emotional impact hits both Superman and Supergirl about that, and then they meet him in Metropolis and the fight's ready to go. So, but I think it's really effective in what it's doing. So we'll rate the book. Matt, what are you giving it out of 10?
This one's an 8.5. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. I thought we were going to give some reasoning.
We talked about everything. I enjoyed it.
Sure.
It hit hard. The art was great. The art was... I want to say it's good, but not great, but I enjoyed the art, so it looked fantastic.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm going to go as high as a 9. I thought this was simple, it was effective, it made some big moves in terms of what the plot is. It made Rogol, even if his design's still kind of lackluster, his motivations and his actions are far more interesting than I think we were expecting them to be before we started this. So, 9 out of 10. And again, consistent art always helps, that's nice. Alright, so we'll move on then to Hawkman #1, Robert Venditti writing and Bryan Hitch on the art. So, this is interesting, it's been a while since we've had an issue 1 for an ongoing book.
Yeah.
Especially one that's like new for like the post-Rebirth launch. Like, here's a hero we haven't had yet. I mean, it's popped up and things, but, new series. So.
And I think it's worth the wait. I really do.
You enjoyed the book then, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
I did too. I'm jumping.
You jumped in.
So, the fact that we get to see Hawkman running around with the satchel, I'm already getting Indiana Jones vibes.
I knew you'd like that, Matt.
Yeah, right? And then he goes into this water temple, right? The sunken temple. And what's the deity? But a gigantic stone ape.
I think the narration is a little clunky at times. But overall, I had a blast. I love the ideas. I love what we're doing with finally trying to establish the various versions of Hawkman.
Oh yeah, that comes later when it goes to Xanadu to sort things out.
That's every Hawkman story I've ever read, is him finding out about the different lives, and there's always something more to it. Whether it was John's stuff with Kendra.
They don't usually link the Thanagarian and the Egyptian together.
No, I mean, John's did.
In some ways, yeah.
Well,
but not definitively.
Because what it says at the end here is that not only has he been reincarnated, he's not even just been reincarnated in time, it's all over space as well, so there's different versions of him on different planets, over time.
Including a Kryptonian one.
Including a Kryptonian one, yes.
Which kind of, I don't want to say it broke my brain, but I'm like, wait, so is he existing in multiple places at the same time? Or...
I wouldn't think so. I think it's just when he reincarnates, he doesn't necessarily reincarnate on Earth. He could reincarnate elsewhere.
So all the times that he wasn't reincarnating on Earth, he was on another planet, right?
Yeah.
So he was on Ran at one point. He was on Thanagar at one point. He was on Krypton.
Yeah.
And this also opens up to the future reincarnations, right? So there might be a Hawkman that runs around with a Legion of Superheroes in the 30th century. Or there might be a Hawkman that knew Booster Gold in the 25th.
Well, there you go.
Or even Zoom. it opens up so many more possibilities, and I think that's what makes Hawkman work. Is his tie to history, and now this just doesn't do Earth's history. This is galaxy wide.
Yeah.
I thought it was just okay. But it's not actually, like, I actually like the concepts. I like the idea of Indiana Jones Hawkman. I like him fighting the giant stone ape. I like this mess with his backstory, and that, you know, this is kind of the explanation for the Rand and more the Thanagar. But Rand's new, Thanagar's the normal one, and all that stuff. But I'm not a big fan of Venditti. I do think the dialogue or the narration specifically felt kind of clunky to me. My biggest problem, though, I think with the book is that I really don't like Hitch's art.
Usually, I'm not big on it. This is probably the best Hitch I've ever seen. I still don't love it, but it's by far the best I've seen him ever do.
I'm just not into the art all that much.
I think it was the colors that really brought it out, like, for me. Like, you know, especially like when he's outside flying, all the lighting and stuff. I think that looks really good, and it hides some of the Hitchness that I'm usually not big on.
I feel when Hitch isn't writing, he has a thing for action. When he's just drawing it, like when he's writing action, it's very boring.
He writes what he wants to draw. Yeah,
but here, when someone else is like, "Hey, I'm gonna have Hawkman fly against this gigantic stone ape, and there's gonna be rubble everywhere," and he kills that page. Like, it looks great. I think.
No, it's a great page.
It's probably the most I've liked Hitch since he's been at DC. Like, because he did the JLA stuff, right, with Johns, or was that Finch?
That was Finch.
Yeah.
Okay. I get them confused so often.
And obviously, at the end, it also sets up there's a big presence coming to destroy all the worlds that he's been on, starting with Earth. So that's kind of setting up the big bad for the book. Just funny because skimming through it there as we were talking about it, like I'm like, yeah, no, like, this is all kind of fine stuff. Like, again, yeah, adventuring, fighting giant rock monsters and whatnot. I don't know. And the fact is I'm seeing a lot of people like it, like on Twitter and stuff. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people are quite happy with it. So people who want to like Hawkman, I think, are getting a lot out of this. For me, it's just the creative team's kind of nulling my.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving it.
Whoa. Yeah. Jesus.
You broke my ears.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't understand. You really don't like Venditti, and he's not always great, but I feel like this is perfectly fine level of Venditti.
Yeah, it's better than his Flash for sure. Like, his Flash has huge problems. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna give it the first arc and see where it goes. But this is definitely my kind of book. This is what I want out of a Hawkman. So I'm so happy.
Week 2 is kind of busy. I'll see how I feel next month if I read issue 2 or not.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'm not feeling super excited about it.
I really like the lettering on the stone ape. Where where it's shouting at him at the end. Yeah. The letters all distort, and you can still read it, but you get that it's underwater. It's all all this stuff's there.
Yeah.
It's really strong lettering work that usually I don't have much cause to actively shout out the letters.
Also, they hinted at seafaring apes and winged apes. And I was like, Venditti, if you don't go there, this is the guy that gave us Space Ape. Like, he has a thing for gorillas, I'm sure. So
he must do.
Yeah, but no, there's so much there with it. Like, I hope we get more Indiana Jones stuff. I hope that's what it focuses on. Because him going around and searching for these nth metal artifacts, right? That was the crux
I feel
of
like
him.
we will get some more of that at least. Even if it's not his goal is to go and do that. Like this issue, it starts with that's his objective. Yeah. I feel like it might be a byproduct of whatever he has to do. He has to go and get X object.
And that's fine. Like, but I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I guess we'll rate the book then. What are you giving it, Matt?
Like Man of Steel is an 8.5. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it surprised me more than anything.
All right, Connor.
I give it an 8. I think even though I did enjoy the art more than I expected, still Hitch ultimately, but I had a blast.
I am going with a 5.5.
Wow.
Which one? I mean, I just don't think the dialogue flowed for me. I like the concepts, but overall I thought it was a bit of a sludge to get through.
You know what it is, Connor? We're used to reading Venditti so often in Green Lantern and Howlin' Pals. I don't think it affects us like it affected Pete.
Maybe.
That's probably you could just be used to the way he writes now.
Yeah,
Could be. Yeah.
we've been assimilated.
It's an acquired taste, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, because that's why I originally stopped. I would not just because of Hal. Like I didn't like the way he was writing Hal. It was kind of he's very dialogue heavy, or very narration heavy, and he hasn't been so much, I guess, in Howlin' Pals as of late. So
yeah, it's funny because this book doesn't actually feel that narration heavy to me. It's you have chunks. You have like a certain section where here's quite a bit of narration, like right at the start and then towards the end, with the discovery page, with all the lives. But mostly it's just here's a little bit here or there. It's not that all invasive like it is on some of his other works.
I think the problem is though the big chunk of it is at the start, so it kind of put me in a.
Oh, I also like what it did.
Mood,
it's building a supporting cast with the Greek guy.
Yeah.
That he's he knows his family, and the wife packed Carter.
Oh, and Xanadu as well. I assume is going to pop up.
And Xanadu, yeah. So, and what's cool about him is you can do the adventure stuff, but you also do the mystical reincarnation stuff. And I hope Venditti strikes the balance. But I thought this was a really strong first issue. I'm definitely coming back for more. I
think if I liked the art, I think it would raise it a lot for me. Because I think once the narration stops and he's fighting the stone ape and all the rest of it, I think if I was visually appealed by that, I think I'd be more into it. But as it is, kind of okay, kind of in the meh range. But I appreciate what it's going for. So I don't know. We'll see. Week 2 is starting to get busier though, so we'll see if I feel like squeezing it in next month. But no promises. But it sounds like you two are going to be covering it at the very least. So you can expect Hawkman number 2 next month. Which takes on to the other issue one we have. This one's for a mini, but it is a notable character, Plastic Man number 1. Gail Simone writing, Adriana Melo on the art. So this is our first solo Plastic Man book in quite a while. And it is delving sort of back towards his early days. This is soon after his origin, seemingly, where he wants to figure out who shot the guard because he was in the middle of a bank robbery when all his accident went down to give him his powers, and a guard got shot. And while he might have been a bit of a criminal, he might have been a bit of a shady character, he's not okay with that. So he wants to try and figure out who did it. And of course, the big shock to him is that when he, as Plastic Man, when he interrogates one of the guys, he's like, "Oh, it's Eel, he did it." He did it.
Yeah, and he's horrified.
So now he's having nightmares of that. And of course you have the Plastic Man narration, which is pretty comical, pretty witty. His opening tactic to try and get some information is to go see his old gang and get the crap kicked out of him. But of course he's okay because he's Plastic Man. He can take the beating.
Yeah, but he has to play like he can't. You know? So.
I'll be honest. I don't think I laughed anything more. A comic in recent times than him going, wait, is Wang good or bad? Does it still mean penis?
Yeah, after he's been beat up and this random passerby asks him that.
Yeah. And then him just using Wang for the rest of the issue. That was cracking me up.
Yeah, it actually ends in the cliffhanger with all the cops coming after him. He's like, that's so not Wang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like hearing you guys say Wang.
Wang.
Yeah, it's funny in different accents.
That's so Wang, Matt.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't enjoy this that much.
So, no, for me this was way better than Hawkman. I like this quite a bit.
It was fun, and it was. I feel like Plastic Man's an acquired taste though, and when it comes to stretchy heroes, I'm more of a Ralph Dibny kind of guy. This definitely felt weirdly like an '80s comic. Like it just had this tone to it.
Oh, even down to the front cover has a dialogue. It has a speech
There's
bubble on it.
Yeah.
And just the art is very reminiscent of that era. And this is none of it's a slight. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah, I quite like the art. I like how it's got that sort of pulp. It's got a very sort of comic noir kind of feel to it. Like that opening page where the mobster's girlfriend's like, "Oh, you probably should take me out and out in the town tonight," and he's like hiding the baseball bat behind him, and he's got that look in his face. It's got this kind of like this comical version of like a noir that we're kind of doing here with
I love
Plastic Man.
the contrast and the colors. Like that, those first few pages, it's so gritty and grim. And then as soon as his power started, you get the yellow glow, and everything inside that yellow glow is just so vibrant and bright. But everything around it's still kind of dull.
Yeah,
that contrast really works for me.
Yeah. Also, the humour's a little bit more racy than you might get in your typical DC book. You know, there's that joke where he's like, "Hey, I left some rubbers at your mum's house on the nightstand. Can I get those back? Your sister's in town."
Yeah.
That's a 1-2 punch. That right there.
That's
that
such
joke.
a good slam.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. No, it's filled with a lot of comedy beats. It's the whole idea of him, like, you know, going by the nightclub, and like, you know, he's like the one girl who likes him, he doesn't want to, you know, go with her because she likes me, then, you know, it would only end badly. But the ones I do like, I like also that he intimidate one of the bad guys that he interrogates. He does so by you know, plasticking into Wonder Woman, but it's like Wonder Woman with the red and the yellow like color scheme that he has.
Yeah.
It's a really nice touch. I also like when he almost gets hit by the car and he just stretches his legs up and goes over the top of it. I don't know, it's the fun stuff. It's very expressive. It's very kind of the expressions on their faces are very exaggerated in the art, but I think that works for the type of characters we're working with here.
Small touch, you know, when he does go to the club and you know, the girl who greets him at the start is in the Supergirl outfit. That's the Bombshells outfit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I thought, that was a nice little, you know, just.
It's a good costume.
And then the one he likes is wearing like an Aquaman sexy outfit. Also,
I laughed at the Batman and Catwoman strippers.
The pole dancing, yeah. And it's just people in underwear, but they just happen to have Batman and Catwoman cowls on. That's all they have. That's good. So the big plot thing of the issue, though, outside of his guilt over possibly killing this guard, if it was really him, you know, if that turns out to be true, and I'm suspecting to think it might not be, or if it does turn out to be true, then it'll be a sort of redemption kind of thing.
I can see that being the motivating thing for him.
But the big thing is that we have this spiral agent who comes by, and we get the joke that he can have a 6-pack or a 12-pack or whatever. I did laugh at her reaction to him, just like, oh, here's a 6-pack. Oh, you want a 12-pack? I thought it was quite funny. But yeah, so apparently there's a secret organisation that is manipulating governments and getting rid of the ones that won't help it, so it can take over the entire world. And even the super meta teams might be infiltrated. So I need someone I can trust that isn't on the inside yet. So she's recruiting old Plastic Man, and he's kind of into it. And he actually goes by to help.
He drives away.
He drives away. That's true. Yes. He actually goes by to help someone who calls him. And when he gets there, he's like dying, and he asks him, "Oh, who did this? Who killed everyone?" And the guy in blood just writes JLA on the wall, and I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting. All right, we got our mystery. We got the like who's
JLA almost certainly stands for something else.
Probably, yeah. It'll be, I don't know, Jacob Lansing Almond or something. Some dude.
The best you can come up with.
On the spur of the moment, that's the best you're getting, yes.
Alright.
Okay, Japanese Little League Association.
Little League has 2 L's.
Shut up! I thought the image of little Japanese kids with baseball bats being the villains behind all this might amuse you, Matt, but okay.
Alright, why don't you go write that into an issue of Green Arrow?
So I had fun with this. I was into. I like the narration a lot. I think the art's really good and expressive. But I think what really nailed this for me is Gail Simone's voice for Plastic Man in his head. The narration was really selling it on me.
I'm kind of upset this is only a mini.
Yeah, I could do with this being ongoing.
But
hey. So many books, it's maybe a good thing that this will end in 6 months and it's replaced with something else.
Well, and so depending on how packed the next week 2 is, I might read the next one, but if I'm packed like this week, I probably wouldn't.
So basically me and Matt are opposites on Hawkman and Plastic Man.
Yeah.
What a fun turn of events.
Yeah. This is weird that I'm the one being positive in both of them.
No, well that's because you don't like Man of Steel, you're going to read any Bendis Superman, so that basically accounts for like 5 of these, right?
Okay.
And then me and Matt can, like
I didn't think Plastic Man was bad. I just, I had high expectations for Gail Simone. I'm a big fan of her DC stuff, so, and this didn't quite meet them. Like, it was a fine.
I think I like this more than some of her recent DC stuff. Like,
yeah,
I like this more than the newer version of Secret Six. I like this more than our Batgirl run. When I like that Batgirl run, but it's not like a standout. We're like, oh, that's a must read. Like, you know,
it was solid amongst the pack of what was on at the time.
Yeah.
In New 52.
But you know, Cassie Cain's Batgirl, Stephanie Brown's Batgirl, those runs I think are much better than Simone's run in Batgirl.
I feel Simone's run has been solid. Her Birds of Prey run was solid.
Oh yeah, it's Birds of Prey, Secret Six. Not that I've read Secret Six, but from what I hear, it's very good.
Definitely.
But Birds of Prey is one of the big things that she did, of course. I guess we'll rate Plastic Man then. What are you stretching to, Connor?
I'm going for an 8.5. This is really good stuff.
I think I will go with a solid 8. I had a blast. I think it's funny. I like the art a lot, and I think the voice for Plastic Man is it's fun. It kept me bubbling. Like I was enjoying every single panel of narration. I was always into what he was talking about because it had that kind of like, you know, I'm the hard done by detective, but it's really funny because it's Plastic Man. So Matt.
So I really enjoyed the art. I enjoyed Simone's voice, but the story wasn't working. So this is a 7 for me.
All right.
Says a lot about how busy week 2 is when a 7 is a maybe I won't get to this next month.
But hey, there you go. So, you know, I mean, I suppose it's good. Sometimes we all agree and stuff, so I guess it's nice. There's a couple of books this week that we're differing on a little bit. Alright, so next up we have Batman. I want to read Batman now. That sounds good. So we have Batman, Prelude to the Wedding, Batgirl versus Riddler #1, Tim Seeley writing, Minkyu Jung on the art. So this is the third of these.
I might be out on these.
Oh my.
Oh no.
This issue. No, it's not a bad issue, but I don't know what the point of these is now. You know, in that first one with Damien, I was like, okay, that's what these are. They're about the relationships, and you know, it's about how this wedding's affecting them. And now it's just not, is it?
These are just. This is the comic equivalent of going to Taco Bell after work. You're like, maybe I shouldn't, but you know what? I have $3 to spend.
Oh, just for clarification, Matt, did you enjoy the issue?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay,
I enjoyed it way more than the Nightwing Hunt.
Yeah, I enjoyed it way more than Nightwing as well.
No, but I agree. I think it's a better issue than that.
But it's this is empty calories. This is not going to impact. I feel like they messed up when they started with the Damien issue. Because that one was so strong, it's going to make the rest of them.
I think
that's why they put that first. They were like, "Hey, we'll hook them with it."
Yeah.
There's that argument too.
Well, here's the thing. So the whole thing ends with Babs realizing that like she's ignoring our relationship process, because if what they're trying to do with this is saying that okay, Bruce getting married makes like, you know, people around them reconsider their romantic attachments, and you know, if this is like, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's going to have a lasting effect, but let's say it did. Let's say Babs and Dick actually start dating properly and are a proper couple in the DCU going forward, right? If that's what comes out of this would be like, okay, that was important in terms of the wedding kind of inspired that in her to think that way. I don't think it is. I think this is just going to be like a fun little one shot that's not really that important in the grand scheme of things.
That's the thing. They're feeling more and more superfluous. Like, you know how when we went into these, we were expecting, oh, they're just tie-in cash grabs. They're just there for a one shot every week. And then that first one surprised us, and we went, maybe not. Yeah. Now I'm back to go, do you know what? I don't need to read these. They're just kind of here.
I don't think that's a reason to stop. Well, how do I phrase this? I think that's a bit harsh. Like, why do I need to read these? Because they can still just be fun one-shots, and that can be okay.
Yeah, I thought this one was really fun. I liked. It was Babs running around with a headphone, you know, an old-school Walkman, trying to stop the Riddler, who was assembling, you know, people for his own wedding, it seemed. And
yeah, cause basically the thing is, Riddler, like, because Batman's getting married, he started to think, oh, could I ever like find a loved one? And he thought, you know, that Batgirl's really smart. I'm going to test her, and if she passed the test, maybe I'll be in love with her. So it's a really sick kind of twisted.
Which is such, it's a very methodical, not at all emotional version of love. And I like that undercurrent because it played off of Babs not having time. But, like, Dick's been reaching out to her, you know, like, he's been trying to talk to her, and she's been stonewalling him. So she's like, well, maybe I need to re-establish, you know, not just a working relationship with Dick, like an actual...
Yeah, I guess the point is it's her accepting that, or maybe I should just admit to myself that I'm pushing other people away because I want Dick.
Yeah.
You know, forgive the phrasing, and she makes that choice at the end, and it might not actually lead to anything. It'd be cool if it does. Like, I would love if this actually leads to they're actually properly going to date now for a period of time.
But see, you look at that cover of Heroes in Crisis, and you have Starfire snuggling up to Dick.
Good.
I'm just gonna call him Grayson. So you know,
I don't think I don't think that's in any correlation to this necessarily.
Because I feel like there's two schools of thought out there. There's the Grayson Starfire, and then there's Grayson Babs, and I don't want a love triangle kind of deal.
Oh, of course.
Just pick one and stick with it.
One of them. One of those groups are on the wrong side of history, just to make that clear.
I agree.
I'm glad you agree. I agree with you, Connor.
What's that, Matt?
I was like, either way, he's got great taste in ladies, right? Starfire and Babs. He can do a hell of a lot worse.
He definitely has a type, though, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. So,
this is why Matt relates to Dick more than anything else. He has the same type.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not the rock hard abs. It's not the it's not the gymnastics.
Oh.
No.
It's the typing ladies. That's what it is. No, I had fun with the chasing around Burnside, solving Riddler's mysteries. I thought the panel, because the art's pretty good. I really like the panel of where you realise there's a guy inside the statue, and you can just see the eyes looking down at her. I thought that was a really fun panel.
Yeah. One, I like that she had to find a florist, and then she had to find a preacher, and then the DJ, and then the ring bearer, and that's what solved it for her. It was a fun little caper.
Yeah, and I love the visual of that she's always wearing these really old school 80s headphones. The fuzzy ones with the big sort of soft bits. I really like that.
Yeah.
This is a cool image because over a curl, she's just wearing these headphones the whole time.
If I'm gonna have an empty calorie book, I'd rather have it be this than the last one we had, than the Nightwing and Hush, which was just super weird and out there.
Yeah,
this at least
I think
a Batgirl story.
This one shot, this could easily have been one of Larson's one shots between arcs, and that'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Fair enough. This one really worked for me. The stuff especially with Riddler at the end, I wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah, this always makes me anytime there's a new Riddler story and it's not, it makes me realize I don't enjoy Riddler as much as who's ever writing Riddler. So I felt King's Riddler really good, and Dini's Riddler. But anybody else, I am kind of this is not working for me.
He's someone that takes just the right writer to get it, to nail it.
Yeah,
exactly.
But no, I had fun. I was into this. And look at that. Connor last book says, "Oh, it's me that's positive on all the books this week."
I'll be honest, I forgot that I read this one.
Yeah, so then we got to this. So we've had that's all
honestly,
three.
I thought you might more agree with me on this one, so I didn't realise I was going to be the negative one.
Nah, there you go. So that's all three of us. We all had one book in a row that one of us didn't like that much compared to the other two.
Yeah.
Look at that, fancy. All right, let's rate the book then. So that was Batgirl versus Riddler #1. Matt, what are you rating it?
Oh, it was an 8. I really enjoyed the art, and I really enjoyed the story.
Cool, Connor?
I give it a 6, mostly because the art's pretty good. Because Jung's been solid. Whatever got the art.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, I think it's a fine score for this. I had fun with this one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great little one shot. But hey, any teasing of Dick Babs,
of course,
up, hits me in the heart, hits me right there. Not that Connor has one of those. So
I do.
No, he has a heart. He doesn't have a soul. There's a difference.
He has neither. All right, we'll move on. We'll move on to Detective Comics 982. This is the fill-in issue. This is Michael Moreci writing, Sebastian Fiumara on the art. Obviously, the Bryan Hill on the outside art get pushed by an issue, so that's starting next time now. So this is a one-shot. Deacon Blackfire has kidnapped a child that he's going to try and use his body to become corporeal again. He's in the sewers of Gotham, and Batman's down hunting for the kid to save him. That is the premise of this one. I already know how Matt feels on this, because Matt said he didn't finish the book.
No, I don't feel like Moreci has a feel for Batman. It all just feels really off. And I wasn't enjoying the super dark heart.
That's where I'm going to dispute, I think, the most, is I actually really like the art. I was into the art on this one.
From the pages that I saw, I wasn't going, and I got about
We are all over the place this week.
How does Connor feel about this one?
I technically finished it, but I kind of realised I stopped reading about halfway through and just started looking at the art, because I really like the art.
But you like the art? Yeah, okay,
I
right.
love the art.
I'm taking that as a win.
the narration was horrific.
There was too much of it.
I realised I wasn't reading anymore.
Right.
I was just going, oh, this is some nice art as I was getting towards the
The
end.
narration was too much. It was really, really wordy. There was too much of it. Like that's fair.
But even just that it was too wordy, it wasn't that. I just thought the voice was just wrong entirely. It didn't work at all.
That's fair. I think the core story is good. I think the writing is too messy and overdone. But the art's really good. So I think overall for me it balanced out to kind of enjoying it, even if there's some problems with it. But clearly liked it more than Matt.
Yeah.
This is such a weird week, isn't it?
That is a weird week.
I should go back and finish looking at the art then, because I was like,
so good.
nah, I got so many books this week. I'm not doing this.
I would be all for going back to like presenting Batman as like, you know, the all dark kind of shadow version that we've got here, where he's always the cape's always covering all the grey and.
I feel there's a way to do it, but I don't feel the story was it. I don't. With some notable exceptions, I'm not a big fan of Batman with the supernatural. You know, like I'm thinking Blackfire kind of sucks. Like I'm not even. I saw Blackfire on the cover and I was like,
he's not the best. I don't fault it, but I love how dark the art is. I love some of the panels of like when he gets thrown down over the sewer sort of waterfall. When he's thrown down that, he's just this ball of cape. And then all the stuff with the like in his mind where he's seeing all these people like try to wreck the bat signal. Like I thought the art was really pretty. This is basically the thing. And then when he realizes that he's not alone. I mean, they're not really there, but like the Bat family kind of show up. Like I don't know. Like I really like the art. It was a really pretty book.
Oh, I agree with that.
Fiumara's on my watch list.
Fantastic.
What's that? Sorry.
Gotham on Fire looks fantastic.
Yes, very good. That was a fantastic looking book, and Fiumara's on my list of artists to watch now. When I see his name pop up, I'm going to be happy about it. So no, so I'll praise that. I do think the wording's too much, and the story ultimately is not that important. But I like the idea that he's kind of trapped in his head, and he has to realize that he's not alone. So he envisions the Bat family who are like, no, we are what we are because of you. You're never alone. And he finds the strength to save the boy. Simple superhero stuff, but I'll put Matt out of his misery. What are you rating that?
Well, I'm going to take what you guys said about the art, and I'm going to trust you. So I'm going to give it a 5.
Well, that's a good point. You shouldn't rate it. You didn't finish it. That's fair, actually, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I will take what you guys said about the art, because I did not like the story.
Okay.
And I'll give it a minimum of 5.
All right, that's
high marks for the art.
That's fair. Connor?
I give it a 4, and all of those marks are for the art.
Woofed. Like, how did you rate it lower than Matt did?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was atrocious. Like I said, I was literally just reading it for the art by the end. Matt just went, no, forget it. I stuck with it, and I think that annoys me more. That I'm like, I was actively just looking around the panels, going, just show me the art. That's
a bit the harsh side. I'm gonna go with a 6. I think the writing is very lacking, but the core plot and what it's doing, and the art's fantastic. So 6 out of 10 from me. But damn, everyone's all over the place this week. My God, let's get some consistency. All right. Well, hopefully we all like this next book. I'll be upset if we didn't. The Flash, number 48. Joshua Williamson writing and Howard Porter on the art. Just, did you like it, Matt? Just say it, yes or no.
Yes.
Connor.
Yeah.
Good.
Finally.
We all liked the book.
Taken, what, 6 books?
Except Pete did not.
Nah. As much as that would be really funny, and I'd love to pull that twist. That is not true.
This is not the book to do it on.
No. Flash War Part 2.
I feel like there might only be 2 safe books this week then that everyone agrees on.
This and the next one, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, me and Pete also agreed on Man of Steel, so.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
True, yeah.
I was including even things like Hal Jordan. I'm counting, well, Pete doesn't read that because he doesn't like it.
Well, that's a bit different, though, if I don't read the book.
Well, no, that's why I was counting that along with Man of Steel for me.
Oh, sure, okay.
So, just seeing Irie and Jay, which it finally sunk in, because I've always read his name as Jai, and then I was like, wait, no, his name's Jay, like Jay Garrick, right? Because, of course, he's a Flash. It's taking me 12 years to figure this out.
I always call him Jai as well, Matt, so I don't feel too bad about it.
So I was like, no, someone told me it's pronounced Jay.
It's Jai, like Jai Courtney.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So But then I thought it makes more sense if it's Jay, right?
It does make more sense.
It does make more sense.
If it's still right though.
All right, we need to hit up Geoff Johns as if he's not busy enough. Maybe like
he's the one who named him.
Jay.
So so Johns will be the one who knows more than anyone. So flashback to Wally in the actual Flash suit with his kids running with them.
The first thing you see in the issue, In Time's Forgotten. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yep, so good. So Zoom, obviously, and so Wally, Zoom really gets a few words out before Wally just takes a swing at him, and that's when he remembers everything.
It's as soon as he has contact.
Yeah. You even see at one of the panels there is Zoom going for Linda when she was pregnant. That's a big plot point.
I'm getting up to that stuff in my reread, and I'm bracing for it because
it's such a dark moment when that happens. But yeah, so we have this big confrontation, but he tells Wally that no, your kids, along with other speedsters, are trapped in the Speed Force. If you destroy the Speed Force, you can have them all back. That's basically what he's saying to him.
And I also don't trust Zoom, and I get Zoom's whole thing, and he's more Hunter Zolomon right now. He's like, no, I'm your friend. I went a little crazy. You did some bad things, but I have your best interests at heart here.
I tried to give your wife a miscarriage. Yeah, I did some bad things.
I think what really works me is he's saying, hey, no, they're in there. You just got to break them out.
Yeah.
You sure have to destroy it in the process, but they'll get out.
Yeah.
There's a logic to it. And I don't know how manipulative he's being and how much that's just true. I don't know if he's just outright lying or not.
Yeah, but see, you remember, Zoom's not powered by the Speed Force. He slides through time. So if he breaks the Speed Force, that gives him the ultimate speedster. Right?
No, it does. And that's what I mean. I don't know if this is just an outright lie and manipulation or if there is still truth in what he's saying.
But Zoom does not have his powers right now, or at least he's playing a good game of presenting it that way. He could be lying, but I mean, there's been no use of his powers yet.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's what's great, right? Because you want to be in that is he a hero? Because that was always his thing, was he wanted to make Wally the best hero he could. And here now that's changed, right? Because now he wants him to have his family back, and so what is Zoom's actual end goal here?
It's something we don't know yet. I refuse to believe that it's Seth. There's not an ulterior motive in there.
I think he's a shitbag heel. Don't get me wrong. I feel like there's a turn coming, but as of right now, it's when the tag team gets into the ring and they hug, but you feel like one of these guys is going over the ropes. So
F you, Ciampa. Anyway,
exactly.
So we come back to Barry and Iris and Wallace and. Yeah, why did we never just use Wallace for him to differentiate them?
We need to now.
Yeah, easy.
I
Wallace.
think it's because for so long we didn't need to. He just was Wally, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then,
but you know what? I don't want him to go away. I like his addition to the Flash family.
No, I agree. I didn't like him in Venditti stuff, but he was Wally for all intents and purposes, so we just used Wally. And then he stuck around, so we kept using it, and it never clocked to do something different.
So, the Renegades, they're like, okay, so where's Zoom? Where's the judge? And he's not there. And then they find the footage that proves that Iris was innocent all along. So it was self-defense, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so something fishy is going on here, and they don't want to let Barry go and investigate with them. So Barry goes all Flash and super speeds around them, and gets convincing, I suppose. But ultimately, he speeds in and interrupts Wally and Zoom, and it becomes this kind of a showdown, where. Cold's about to blast Zoom, and Wally protects him because no, I need to hear more of this. I need to hear how I can get my kids back, right? And we knew that this was going to be the trigger for all this, right? Is that Wally finding out that these kids existed, that he could maybe get them back. And I love that when he says this, because Iris and Wallace speed in as well. When he says this, and Iris sees the photograph of the kids with Linda and Wally, she's like, I remember. And I love that she says, who else are we not? And it cuts her off. We don't get to hear her finish sentence, but it's clearly going to be, who else are we forgetting? Who else can we not remember? So, no, it's hitting a lot of those emotional beats. And, Barry tries to talk him out of it, and Wally just speeds off. I wasn't asking. Away he goes. Someone else speak while I die.
I wasn't asking for your permission.
There you go. Yeah.
The other line that got me was when he's going off on Zoom, and he's like, Jai was afraid of the dark, and he promised that I wouldn't tell Iris because she'd make fun of him. And I was just like, oh man, Williamson, you were just tugging at those heartstrings, because like he's remembering all these small things.
Yeah, and we will say Jai for the same reason we use Wallace, because if Jay comes back, we don't want two Jays.
Right. Not if, when.
When, sure, yes, I agree, Brian. So we say Jai to differentiate. It's why we use Irie and not Iris or Iris 2, because...
Irie, right. So, here's the thing, too. I noticed... So, in the Renegades, right, they all have different names. So, it's like Weather... So what?
Warlock, I think.
Weather Warlock, Mirror Monarch, Commander Cold, Heat Stroke, and then it's Golden Guardian, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
So, in the... Here, and I noticed that it might have been a top typo in the physical copy I had, but it's Cold calls her Golden Glider. So is that an actual typo, or is there something more going on here?
That feels like a typo to me.
More likely a typo, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't feel like a moment to drop that. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I didn't know if that was something worth pointing out, because I thought that was weird.
So Barry races after Wally. Cold helps him by teleporting him to the location. But after they leave, they've got Zoom, but Zoom actually like, grabs this hammer and smashes the floor. He disappears, and then he's done something to time, because now in this future, this great white light is like taking everything. Basically Wallace is like, Iris, I don't feel so good, as they fade out from existence.
Yes, yeah, it's all erasing.
Yes, so obviously I expect this to be fixed by the end of the arc, but seemingly right now, Iris and Wallace just got taken out of time. Same with Cold. Right. Unless Cold got them away just in time with teleportation or something.
Maybe, because he does put a bubble around them, I think.
Yeah.
Or he's trying to, anyway.
He's trying to, yeah.
Look at Cold being a hero. We all know he has it in him, even if it's lineage, 5 centuries from now.
Well, he's supposed to be a hero. I mean, he's supposed to be just good.
No, I know, but like it's. I always like seeing Captain Cold do good things. And that's the ultimate.
Actually, one of my favourite panels in the book is when Barry catches up to Wally and stops him. The panel, it's a full page spread with one panel at the bottom, and the panel at the bottom you see like the 2 streaks of speed, sort of like bouncing after they've crashed into each other.
It amused me. The way it looks very Sonic the Hedgehog.
It does, yeah.
With all the round circles there.
Yeah.
And then we actually get the scene that we had teased before. This was kind of the tease scene way back.
I was a little surprised we were getting that already. I thought that was going to be another, like halfway into the arc.
Yeah, but here we are. And I love that we started this and there's like the panels of the like Wally remembering running with these kids. And I loved it when we get to the end of this and it's at the end of the debate. Is we actually get like Wally's history, because I've actually for Peter's pillbox I've just been reading through Born to Run, which is the flashback like year 1 story of Wally. So I'm like, oh yeah, like Wally getting struck and then like Barry teaching him to run, and of course we end with the rebirth hug. Yeah. So you really feel like this is kind of deteriorating, and is like
the gorgeous panel on the bottom as well with them. Usually not hugely big on the speed lines. But in that panel, the way, because they're all just silhouette and you just got the lines, it looks nice.
It does look good. And so it ends with, Wally's like, no, I'm going to do this. And Barry's like, I will catch you. And he's like, it's not going to happen, Barry. I'm faster than you are.
Yeah.
Is he, though?
Probably.
It's Wally.
They both claim to be the fastest man alive.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but Wally started claiming that after Barry died.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe he wasn't the fastest before, is what I guess the point.
Yeah. Again, very straightforward in terms of what it's doing, but this issue was the big emotional beats of Wally truly remembering his kids and wanting his kids back and what he's willing to do to get them. And I have to wonder, with Crisis, Heroes in Crisis being announced, I do think we're going to end this arc with Wally going to Sanctuary. I think that's what's going to happen.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Man, I just want my Speed family back. I want everyone.
Because it's worth mentioning that Heroes in Crisis cover, Wally's fairly prominent. He's quite at the front. He's over at the side.
And King did say he was writing some of the fallout from Flash World, right?
Yeah. So I think
that lines up.
I think Heroes in Crisis is Wally's going to play a fairly major part of that.
I know this is ending in September or maybe the month before, because that's when we were speculating before.
Yeah.
about
The new book.
the new book.
Yeah, there's another 4 issues left. So you get one in June, 2 in July, so one in August. So it'll be mid-August when we end Flash War.
And presumably an epilogue issue.
Yeah, very possibly.
So Williams usually had them.
And that doesn't mean that we won't get the. I mean, the second Flash book, if it's Wally, the one that's been rumoured, like, if we still might get that in October, say, like, well, Crisis and Heroes is still going, or Heroes and Crisis, rather, is still going. But I do think the immediate, in terms of timeline, I think Heroes and Crisis is what's coming next for Wally.
What if that second book is him going through the Speed Force and fixing his life, and that's how we get Max Mercury and Bart and the twins?
This is just straight to dream wishful thinking on Matt's part.
Isn't it? He's gone right for it. Yeah. This is like...
Well, because then I can have my cake and eat it too, because I can have the Barry Allen stuff in one book, and I can have all the Wally stuff I love.
Well, that's what we're hoping for.
This is, when Peter was reaching earlier for Somni on the Shazam book, this is what Matt's doing here. He's just reaching, so I need it. I want it.
Well, I think it's interesting, though, that Barry tries to talk him out of it because of Flashpoint. Because even at one point, Zoom's like showing him, hey, Barry did this, he tried to save his mum, and look at what happened, and he changed everything. And Wally, quite rightly says, oh, that wasn't just Barry, there's more to this. And it's kind of brushed aside, because it's not what it's about, but yeah, we know that there's more to that than just Barry messing with the timeline. Although, arguably, Barry opened a door for Manhattan, or whoever, to mess with things.
He added the first cracks to it.
Yeah.
For someone to come smashing through.
Pretty much, yeah. That's how you put it. But not still digging Flash War. Porter's art, I think, is great for Flash. It always feel like home in a Flash book.
Does that? It's just like Collins. Yeah. Always feels right.
It makes me excited to see what are we going to see if next issue. I don't know if it's going to be next issue or if maybe we end next issue with getting into the Speed Force, but what do we see once we get in there? Do we see cameos from Jay, from the kids, from Max Mercury, Jesse Quick?
Yep.
Who do we see? What events do we go back to?
You just reminded me of Jesse. Damn it. Another one thrown there.
Do we go back to the events of Johns' Flash run? Do we see them from Wally in the present day's perspective?
Well, I think we have to, because the whole whatever Zoom did to the Flash Museum, it's gone now.
Yep.
Right? That's what the whiteness was. So I feel there has to be some fixed point in time that it leads to that, So I'm excited. This is my, right now, one of my favorite stories. And we're 2 issues in.
Yeah, in terms of ongoing stories right now, it's this, I think Doomsday Clock beats it, because Doomsday Clock's Doomsday Clock.
Oh, yeah.
No, this is right up there. It feels so important to the DCU. I mean, it's specific to the Flash, but it feels like ripple effects will be important for the whole thing. I mean,
the Flash comics introduced the idea of the multiverse. And what's more DC than the multiverse?
There you go.
Yeah.
What did we name our show? What do I say at the end of every goddamn episode? There we go. So let's rate issue 48 of The Flash. It's good stuff. Connor, what are you rating it?
Solid 8.
Matt?
Oh, this is a 9.
Yeah, 9. Yeah, 9. I was debating with a 9 or an 8.5. I was like, I don't know what.
I had to restrain myself from giving a 9.5. I had to notch it down.
No, I was super into it. 9 out of 10 for me. So that is The Flash. We will move on to Mr. Miracle number 9, Tom King, Mitch Gerads, as I learned this week from his interview.
That's how you say it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a hard G.
Hard G. I saw that clip on Monday, and I learned how to pronounce his name. So that was just a joke. That was supposed to be funny. That was a callback to earlier. God damn it, you guys.
So it's a GIF, like Gerads. I can't even say his name.
There's only one R, Matt.
I know.
Gerads. Mitch Gerads.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is issue 9 of Mr. Miracle. This is the negotiation issue. The war's coming to an end. We're at the table. Calibax at the other end, negotiating for Apocalypse and Darkseid. And Mr. Miracle, Barda, and Light Ray. In fact, one of my funniest moments is when Light Ray is not happy that they're negotiating at all. It just goes, "Oh, you piece of shit! You murdered my friend! I'm going to kill you, Calabac, and everything you've done." And he just mouths off, and then there's like an awkward pause. And again, this is the thing that's so good about this comic is the pacing between awkward moments like this, where there's just awkward silence, and then Bard's like, "Oh, shut the f up, Light Ray."
Yeah,
so good.
She's had enough of him. Like it's go ahead.
So that's where the 9-panel grid really comes into its own, isn't it? The pacing. It's just because it's so meticulous that it never falters. It's always exactly the same pace.
For a book about the fourth world and new gods and a man that can escape death, it's so really
rigidly structured, isn't it?
Well, there's that, and it gets into the mundane. Like this is all about essentially a peace summit, something that I'm sure former CIA operative Tom King knows a lot about. You know, so and it just felt like so real world. Them going over the paperwork and disagreeing about certain dates and certain forms, but these are all superheroes.
I do hope in real life, though, when the CIA is doing some sort of peace treaty thing, they have all the rookies go under the table and hold it up.
God.
That's how you earn your stripes.
Yeah. That's such an apocalypse thing, you know?
Hey, that's not to mention, later on, Calabac, when he flips the table, he actually throws the table into a guy's head. One of the guys gets his head squished by the table.
He throws his chair, which was this man, against the table. So essentially it would be him throwing a chair against the table.
And it leads to one of the best moments of Mr. Miracle going, "Hey, stop it. Don't bother. I grew up here. I know this shit. They ain't going to work on me."
Yeah, you can't know crazy.
And a big part of the book is him being escorted to this giant pit so he can go to the bathroom. And we actually get, like, as the guy's telling this story. I mean, do we know who this character is? I didn't recognise him.
I was going to ask. I have to look this up. No.
Go on, you go look him up. The dude who's telling the story about Da Vinci. But we get this story being told as the spit from the top is like going down it's over 2 pages. The spit just going down the giant well, the giant pit before it hits this prisoner at the bottom. And it's just this idea that the book's about anxiety and depression, and it's this never-ending pit, and there's so much stuff you can glean from all these little touches. It's good stuff. And again,
so that guy is Kanto.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna click on it once I get there.
Probably should have done that.
I only saw half of his. Well, I only had half of his character, but it looked like the right clothing that came up. So. But
yeah, so even just it switches to the coloring with Barda and Miracle. When he's got his mask off and. They're showing about the bone wine, and they're reminiscing and kind of joking. And even later on, when they're in the fire pits, there's the fire lake, and she's going for a swim. It's like it becomes this really warm light, as opposed to the really almost dreary grey of the negotiation room.
If you look back to the pit, it starts at the grey and it kind of gets into the greens and the dank green at the bottom as it goes through the panels. It's this really gradual shift. And
green is kind of, that's one of the big Mr. Miracle colours. That's his cape. That's like, it's almost like the cape is like represent, or the colour green is representing, he used to be like this. He used to be in prison like this. Not exactly at the bottom of a pit, but no. And I love that it's after Calabac gets angry. That's when the video effect comes in for the first time, I think, in the issue.
And it's not so much the angry; it's his response. It's Scott's response that he has to delve into his history of being
It's a really sobering moment for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that there, and he snaps into, okay, no, I've got to take this a harder route. I've got to be cold. I've got to lean into that side of me.
Yeah, it's after he does that we get the only dark side is at the end of that page. It's the only one of the whole book.
This book is ending on just a full page spread of just dark side is, right?
Very possible. It's very possible that's how it'll end.
Yeah, and then Calabac, he looks like a troll, like from mythology.
Yeah,
and whatnot. Like I love the way that he takes up entire frames.
I love the glasses he's wearing at the start when he's sort of reading and he's sort of looking over them as he's like going over the terms.
I could hear him exhale when he put even though it's not mentioned, just him putting the glasses on and going,
yeah. He's got that librarian looking over the glasses kind of look a couple of times. It's really good stuff. And the thing they've done it, and they're kind of, Scott's kind of upset because they've kind of like given up too much to win this, or not even win, but just like negotiate peace. And Calabac gives them the mirror of what was it, the mirror of goodness, from Granny. It's like she won't need this anymore because you killed her, which that made me laugh. And again, it's this idea of like looking and seeing who he really is, and he actually looks into it naked. In fact, one of my favorite pages might be after that, when you see in the reflection the tortured like version of him. That's just
he
like,
just starts crying.
Yeah, and then Barda equally tortured, and that's why they're perfect for each other, because they both have this history. They both see each other for who they are, and they understand each other. It's like really dark and gritty, but really sweet at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
It's finding the beauty in the grotesque, which is kind of what their relationship is, because they're in this awful place and they somehow found each other. So, so beautiful. But yeah, the issue is with Calabac comes back and he's like, everything we agreed to, it's all thrown out. Darkseid's turned it all down, and they're like, but wait, you were speaking for him. He's like, no, he wasn't happy with it because he wants to offer you more. And they're like, wait, what? He will give you the anti-life equation. He will give you this. They'll pull all the troops back. Everything is on your side. You get everything. The only thing from us is that Darkseid wants your son, his only grandchild, to be raised in Apocalypse.
And to be the true heir of Darkseid.
As the true heir of Darkseid.
And you just go, oh, shit.
And that's when the video static really comes into play, and it goes completely, distorted as shit for the last couple of pages, and they're all just like, what? And that's when you see Darkseid, like, the darks, outline of just the face of Darkseid.
Yeah. You don't need the Darkseid you just have his face.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, because it's like he's not an idea anymore. It's like he's more actually directly interfering now. He's directly.
And you see, well, his last panels, he's smiling.
Yeah, it's Darkseid is coming essentially.
And then you just end on him going, "What?
What?
What just happened?"
Yeah, he looks this terrified.
So there's no way Vada and Light Ray flying off the handle like. She's shocked at first as well in the first panel on the top right, but then she reacts, and you can see Light Ray down in the bottom left as well. They're getting up, they're ready to fight. So, like, no, of course not.
And I think it's this fear of Scott's that he'll have to give up his child like he was giving up. Like he would never do that. He would never want to do that. So the idea that he's going to be forced into it, I think, is this bombshell of emotion.
So the anti-life equation is such an abstract concept to me, because it's a Darkseid has it. Right, and he could end everything if he so chooses. So, but there's no way Scott's giving up his kid. So, like,
but that's the thing. Like, he's gonna have to consider it. That'll be the whole idea of, okay, he was traded from Highfather as part of a truce. It was for the greater good, and he's like, okay, now he's like, should I make that same choice? He knows what it did to him as a person.
Exactly.
But even though he's broken as a person, was it good for the universe as a whole? And now he has to make that choice for himself.
Well, it's one life for many, right? But So I'm curious to see where it goes. Just because if Darkseid has the anti-life equation, that's it. So, like, that's all I know about the New Gods.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it could be a case of like he sort of agrees to it. They're going to go through with it. And then, like the next issue ends with, like, what, no, F this. We're not doing this. Like, and then the choice is to, like, do it differently and fight back.
I feel this book ends with a showdown between him and Darkseid. Like they're in the same room, and it's almost like family therapy. Kind of, you know what I mean? Because, again, they do the mundane. It's not going to be this big knockout, drag-out fight.
Yeah, it's not going to be a fight.
That's not what this book is. Yeah.
Yeah, if I was to make some like one guess of how it might end, like, it could be, actually with Darkseid, Scott actually saying to Darkseid, you don't scare me anymore. Like, if it wants to make like a positive point about him getting through his depression and him getting through his anxiety, like, I'm not scared of you anymore. I don't worry about you. And
I feel like that's almost too positive an ending for the book. I feel like the point of the book is that it's an ongoing struggle. There can't be a neat, I'm over this.
And that's it. And you have to learn to live with it. As someone that goes through anxiety, like, it's not bad
That's kind of what I'm saying, is that he learns to live with it. Like, that's your positive ending.
Like, you're always going to be there, but I am always going to find a way to overcome. And that's just the constant struggle. Sometimes I'll lose. Like,
maybe the moment could be, Scott will actually say Darkseid is, but I don't care, or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Exactly. some sort of defiant kind of, like, whatever, because it's there. I accept it, but...
His breakdown, after he loses it because of Calabac, where he's like, my teeth, they won't stop chattering, but if I breathe, but I can't breathe, so they're not going to stop chattering. That was so real to me. Like, I couldn't... That hit hard. Like, I had to stop reading for a second and just take it all in. So, it was... this book is always super effective.
It is.
Like,
I guess it's emotion across so well, and its ideas. So obviously this is issue 9. We get 3 left. We're kind of speculating as to how it could possibly end.
The next one got delayed a little bit because damn it, Mitch, stop being a parent and start drawing.
Yeah, not a huge amount. It's 2 weeks. It's still the same month as it was in, but now it's the last week of next month instead.
You think if Marvel came to Mitch and was like, "Hey, give us your new kid, and you can work on whatever project you want," you think that struggle happens like Mr. Miracle does?
I mean, does that mean for all artists Marvel is? Is that like the mantra?
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel anymore,
That's where you go for the soulless payday.
Yeah. So
it's like, I made a lot of money, but I feel dirty.
I feel Mitch would react like Light Ray and just get super angry. That's what lack of sleep does to you.
Which, by the way, I had no Marvel books this week. That was weird. I had a couple of weeks in a row. So
I caught up with Thor. I read half of Thor.
I probably should.
And it's so good. There's the backup for Thor that teases where we're going. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, this is good.
Also, I read the issue before this one. That was a special.
Yeah.
With the Goddesses of Thunder, and they're my favorite. That Aaron's ever done are those two.
That had Bartel's art as well. It's so good.
So good, but so many hammers. So. That's all I can say about what I've read in Thor.
Well,
so many hammers.
But back to Mr. Miracle, which is fantastic. Gerads, as per usual, now that I'm saying his name right, with the expressions, the pacing, the violence, which was really good. All of it great.
That story Kanto tells too about. I thought that was really cool about an apprentice and a master artist. They're arguing over who's the better artist, and so. They decided to have a contest, and the apprentice had painted just like 6 scrapes, and they're perfect.
Yeah, and
that's it.
And it's worth mentioning, it's a year later. This took a year to paint these.
Oh, okay, it's a year.
Yeah, it pulls the curtain, it's 6 scrapes. It's just 6 scrapes, but they're so realistic. Like, there's a dog that comes up and tries to take the birds, try to take the grapes.
Birds come and try to eat them, and then the apprentice swells with pride and is like, "Oh, see, like, have a good time trying to beat that," and then the master doesn't have an art because the whole point of that story was I pass what I learned to you because that's my job, and I feel like that's
he
the
did
moral
have
of the
art.
story.
What are we talking about, Matt? He did have a
No,
painting.
he didn't.
No, he didn't because he said, what curtain? That's the point.
Curtain?
He says, okay, what's behind your curtain? He says to him, what's behind your curtain? And he says, what curtain?
And the whole point of that is his whole job, his work of art was the apprentice.
Yeah.
His mission was accomplished. So there's this whole thing about lineage is that...
All right, I misread that.
Yeah, at the end, it says, he's won. He knows he's won, and he turns to the master, points at the master's painting, and he says, all right, not that there's a need, but let's see what's behind your curtain. And the master says, what curtain?
See, I read that as he painted a really realistic curtain.
I mean...
Because he refers to it as there. He sees a curtain and says, and he says, what curtain? I thought that was him being, what curtain? Because it's so good, everyone thought there was a curtain.
It could be, yeah. I was with Matt and took it as to, there was a thing there with a curtain over it, but he's like, no, I don't need it because...
No. I took it as he was all pompous because his grapes looked that good. And he's like, pull the curtain away, and he's like, what curtain? So his filled the birds, but his curtain filled the humans.
But what made him a master? It goes in. There's always this thing. You can tune out for a half second because it's Star Wars.
Oh, God.
But that's how you attain Jedi Master from Jedi Knight by training a Padawan. Like the fact that you passed on all your knowledge to an apprentice means that you've attained a new level.
And I thought that was the point. It really ties in with the whole father and son dynamic of the book.
Exactly.
No, you may be right, but I read it as he painted a really good curtain, and no one knew that that was the painting itself.
Now you've said that, I can see that. I can read it that way and understand it.
Right, so I'm not just being an idiot then and just misreading this.
No.
Right, good.
But no, I mean, I can get where you're saying from. I think that's the easiest way.
Oh yeah, that was some salt on that, Matt. Yes, that's the easiest way. The way you read it.
I'm just with what the King has Scott say to Calabac. He's like, yeah, I'm from New Genesis, but I'm still preferred over you. Like, you're the second son, and it's almost as if Darkseid has spent all this time shaping Scott to be an actual ruler. That's his piece of art.
I'm just curious that I want comments. I want to know who read it the way I did first.
Out of interest, in your interpretation, what's the point of the story? Because we're obviously taking it as the father-son dynamic, passing on and becoming better.
I think Pete is that his art's so realistic. Is like, yeah, those are really cool looking grapes. Birds are trying to eat them, but people actually thought there was a curtain right here.
No, right? I get that, but what's the point?
Yeah, he's asking what the point thematically is with the story, and I guess I'm my interpretation of it went the opposite way, because it was like, no matter how hard you try, you will never be better than me.
Okay.
Which I think ties into Scott's anxiety and Scott's doubts, because that's what the series is about, doubt.
No, it is, but I feel like we're coming from a character who's trying to comfort him, essentially.
Yeah, Kanto.
That seems like a weird message to give him.
Yeah, because Kanto feels very familiar. Like this is his favorite uncle. Kanto's
I'm not fighting on your interpretation. I just never thought of it before now.
Yeah. But that's where I'm coming from. Is it's a comforting thing. Like he's telling him, because he's like, yeah, I made up that story. It felt like it was something you needed to hear. So,
No, I mean, I'm curious. I think it works kind of either way, but I'm curious to see what people read it as.
Yeah.
Because when Matt was saying that, I thought he misread it at first. He was like, what are you talking about? There was art. There was a curtain.
I did read it the way Matt did, but looking at it, I can see why you've got to that from the dialogue as well.
I thought that was the joke. It was, like, oh no, there is no curtain. That is the art. It's just that good.
Yeah, it could be. I actually don't know who's right anymore.
Yes, I put down the doubt is there.
There is no spoon.
There is no curtain. Yes, I agree.
Wow.
It's the illusion. It's the art. It's the art of being. Whatever. Let's rate the book. So no, I'm curious. I'm curious to, how people read that. Am I alone? Am I the only one who thought this, or is this actually more of a 50-50 split?
Or just me and Matt weird?
Or just you two weird? Yes.
Yeah.
Always possible. Although thematically, I see why yours works. But I don't get it from the dialogue, if that makes sense.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm going to hit up King on
so that story that was told, we're debating the ending here.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what are you rating? It?
Oh, this is a 9.5. This is
art. Right up there.
Yeah. It was... I like how mundane it was. That's weird for me to say, because usually comics where people sit around and talk, I'm not usually a big fan of, but I think the dynamics.
There's an art to doing good mundanity where it's effective. Yeah. I think the example I always go back to is an episode of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I won't spoil what happened in it, but the body, anyone who knows that show, the body, it deals with the mundanity of an event, but it's actually much more effective because that's what it focuses on. And I think it can be very effective. Connor, what are you rating it?
That's a 9.
Yeah, I'm also going 9. I think it's a fantastic issue. I don't think it's the best in the series so far. I think there's been a few others that have went the extra mile, but fantastic. Alright, so we will move on then to the Titans Special #1, Dan Abnett writing. Robert Gill on the art, although I'm pretty sure there was multiple artists on this because it was changed.
Oh, yeah. I've got a list at the end here.
Yeah, was one of them Sejic? Was there a Sejic section?
I think just in the... Well, it looked like... I think they were playing for Cedric's art because
But it wasn't
they
him.
Were teasing... Yeah.
Sergio Davila, Vicente Cifuentes, Brent Peoples, Matt Santiarelli, Brian Ching, Nicholas Scott, Max Rayner, Matt Santiarelli, and Ben Oliver.
Oh, that's quite a list. I will say the opening scene with the Trinity there, I thought the art and the faces was a pretty wonky.
Superman in particular.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling the art there. But because it was changing, there was other scenes later on that I thought were much better and were quite nice. So what's interesting here is that, you know, Abnett's Titans before wasn't exactly something that was the most loved in general or in this show. I kind of kept going back. I kind of liked it for what it was, but it wasn't like great. But I did finish. I'm up to date. I did read up till, you know, the annual and the last issue of this. But we all checked this out because this is kind of the start of the new direction for it, the new team. This does really look an issue 1 because it's like the whole thing is Nightwing going around assembling the members for this new team, and why they're needed. It's because the source wall's broken and the energy that's came out of it is igniting new metahumans and maybe even adding to current metahumans. So they're the first response team for it.
So again, I feel like it's DC going, hey Marvel, you did this thing where you had new superpowers popping around, but we can do it our way.
What Marvel was that? What story was that?
So that was the cloud, the Terrigen cloud, that was going around in X-Men and giving people with, you know, ties, like who had the deep genes from the Kree, giving them like inhuman powers. And it was basically I feel like it was their gamble that if they had it right away, the X-Men, they would still have mutants in the Inhumans, right?
And no one gave a shit.
Yeah, and they just got rid of it. Like, Soul put in all this work, and he tried his best. It just didn't work out.
People just don't care about any humans. That's just...
and that's it. And so here, I feel like metahumans already established in DC, and so if you have all this power leaking from the source wall, it makes sense that it would activate certain people. And I like now that it almost feels like not the original, but Dick Grayson's first run as leader of the Outsiders that Winnick had done, that their whole thing was they go looking for trouble. They're going to stop threats before they become threats. And this is what this feels like now.
Yeah, and this is sanctioned by the Justice League. They're sort of a branch of the Justice League. They're in the Hall of Justice.
So, do you think that's the third team that Snyder was hinting at?
Oh no, because we already knew about the Titan teams. This was like there's a third team.
Oh, okay.
Another Justice League team. That's still a mystery, but yeah. Sounds like you like this, Matt. Be into it.
I liked a lot. Like, it was really choppy, but I liked the ideas present. I liked the idea of Beast Boy being an actual beast. Now, like, he can transform, but he has to focus.
He has to he struggles to maintain his human-like form.
It's human form, but he can take on these beastly attributes where he's like strong and, you know animal-esque, and I like that. And his whole relationship with Raven has always been one of my favorite things in the Titans books. So the fact that they're on a team and stuff. I
like that with having Donna on the team, again, it's like there's two from that team before, and Donna's like, well, I'm the only one from the team you asked to join this new one. Like, you know, what's up with that? Obviously the art changing, like, for almost every scene is kind of weird, and it means some scenes look really nice, some scenes don't look too hot. Makes for a weird read, but...
I thought the issue was kind of a mess, to be honest.
It was super choppy, but again, I like the ideas at play, and
I like the ideas.
There's just no flow to it.
I like the roster. I like all the characters. I don't know if I agree there's no flow. I don't know if I agree with that.
With it being so choppy, it felt so stop and start that for me there wasn't a flow.
So I keep forgetting Miss Martian's on the team, and so when someone was following him around, I'm like, oh, who's this? Who's this villain that's what? And then I was like, oh yeah, there's a Martian on the team.
Oh yeah, I dug that. Actually, because for me it kind of worked. I thought it was kind of a weird structure because the first chunk with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, or actually it wasn't Superman, it was John. That was the whole reveal. Yeah. But that lasted so long that it feels a bit uneven in that sense. Once it became Dick going around collecting the team members, though, them having different art for each kind of like recruitment scene kind of worked because, you know, it was like, you know, okay, so we're going to a different part of the world now, we're meeting a different character. And because that's how a recruitment story is, you just jump around. So for me, the flow was fine.
I think that the reason that didn't work for me is because they're supposed to be, you're recruiting for a team book. I want to get a cohesive style of them as a team. I don't want to see them all just, oh, here's one artist and then another. It just doesn't work for me at all.
Is the regular artist for the book even on this issue, though?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
That doesn't really bother me, really, in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, so they all form a team. They get Natasha, of course, on the team. I liked her inclusion. It's a little bit different. And I like how everyone picked does have a different skill set. Like, it's a different type of power they have. I like the tease for Natasha where he's to Donna. He's like, "Oh hey, you're the heavy, but maybe the second heaviest when we get to the next one if she agrees." And then it cuts to Natasha and she's like, got her hammer and. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, did she pull that in like Thor at one point? Did she like? She
did, yeah.
I thought I saw that.
She did. They got extra points for me. But,
I'm sure it did.
But I also like when they can get creative and add they have a trinity now. They have a Bat, a Superman, and a Wonder Woman character on this team. And I like when they do that. And it didn't have to be Supergirl. It wasn't Power Girl. It was someone new. Yeah. And anytime they can build these newer characters, even though Natasha's been around forever. This version of her feels very new from Superwoman. So,
I mean, I think a Supergirl or Power Girl would have worked on the team. It would have fit kind of with the age range and who they all are. But I think Natasha's a good fit. It's nice to see her have something to do.
Exactly. Build out these
I think the thing I like the most about this though is that kind of what we were saying beforehand. Before this launch, we were saying Abnett's better when there's a sense of direction, and I feel like this had direction. It feels like it's. It's working towards something. Yeah, and then
just like his Aquaman.
Yeah.
For a while, it was just pardon the pun, treading water, and then once he found that direction with the Aquamarines and then the Atlantis stuff, it's been clicking, and I feel now Titans didn't know what it wanted to be. Like, it was following up from the Titans Hunt stuff, and it was really hit or miss. So.
I feel like now that it's tying into the ongoing Justice League thing, and there's sort of something to keep it sort of pushing forward, that it might have a fresh feel to it. I think this issue did. Whether or not it does that month to month with the regular issues, we'll wait and see. But I like the new team. I like the roster. I like the interaction. It felt like there was a history there between the characters.
I really didn't like the reasoning for Miss Martian. Given that this is we've got the blessing of the Trinity. We can do our own thing, but we're League affiliated. And then she comes in and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a chaperone assigned." I'm like, okay.
Well, she's the liaison. I like that.
She even says that they referred to her as a chaperone. Batman thought you might need, what was the word he used? A chaperone.
Yeah, I don't dislike that. I think that's fine.
I think it completely undermines that opening scene where they're like, "Okay, you can do your thing," and then they go. But we're going to keep an eye on you.
Well, yeah, but even when they're saying you can do your thing in the opening...
Justice League.
Yeah, when they're saying you can do your thing in the opening scene, it's very apprehensive. It's very, you didn't make mistakes in the last time, but maybe you'll be different now. I didn't get from that it was going to be carte blanche. It still felt trepidatious to me, so it still lines up, I think.
Liaison works, but I think the key thing that Batman himself said that she was a chaperone, that feels like they need to be, Raven, as you says, a babysitter. And that's what a chaperone feels like. You have to.
What I liked about it though is I liked Miss Martian didn't understand why that annoys them as much, and she's still kind of happy and cheery about it. I like that dichotomy.
I feel like she's gonna be the Everett Ross, from Black Panther, to where she's part of the group, but she's not part of the group, and that's going to be her story. Well, eventually she'll break through.
Yeah, I would guess that she's going to actually become a main part of the group, and she'll actually be the one who turns round to the league and says, "No, they don't need a liaison. I'm just part of this team now." She'll learn to trust them. I think that's where this is going to go. I feel like that's what
you gotta have a starting point.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Fair enough. I think I don't like it from Batman's point of view. It says he doesn't trust Dick in what he's doing. And that undercuts that relationship quite a bit for me.
I wonder if you're jumping the gun here, though. I wonder if we'll actually see the scene where this was said, and the context might actually make more sense.
I just like hearing Batman doesn't trust Dick.
Like, what if it's actually
He's
like
been
Jean?
burned by Dick before.
What if it's Jean or Diana who suggests it, and then Batman is the one who goes, "I don't know if they need a chaperone," but then they ultimately agree to do it, and that's what Miss Martian's taking the word from. Is when he was maybe arguing against it.
Maybe, but until then, I'm gonna go with what I'm given.
All right, I don't know.
I think that's just writing in an explanation. You're excusing it because of.
I'm not excusing it. I'm trying to excuse it for you. I don't care. I'm fine with it.
Right, and I feel like I don't want to try and excuse it until if they give me a reason later, fair enough. But right now. I feel like I'm going with what I'm given. This is what they're presenting to me as okay. This is what you are. It is. I feel like there's no reason to distrust it right now.
Look at that. Connor's negative in a book again. Everything feels right with the world. Did you like it at all, Connor? Do you want to read the next issue?
I mean, I'll give the first issue a try because this was, like I said, this felt like a mess to me. But maybe in the story it'll be okay. I don't know.
No, I'm definitely gonna read the next one. I was into the new team. I like the build up of them.
I like the art in the Donna Troy section, which I think that's the Nicholas Scott stuff.
I like that section. I also like the section at the end with Miss Martian was
the Sedgwick-esque stuff.
The Sedgwick-esque stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I was into
those
that.
two are definitely the good art points.
No, I'm down, and obviously it ends with them. Basically, they've set up they can actually get like a, an alarm goes off that'll tell them when there's a thing. It reminded me of the Flash TV show a little bit, how they've got like a meta detector.
Yeah.
So they'd actually all race off to go and we actually get like a tease at the end of Brother Blood raising an army to do his thing. So that seems to be the first plot we're going to do.
Because it's a Titan story, so of course there's going to be Brother Blood at some point.
Why
makes
not?
sense.
I love an evil cult.
Yeah.
Like.
Sure. No, that wasn't a negative.
Matt's got several memberships of evil cults. He's in a bunch of them.
No. I find them fascinating in real life, in fiction. Exactly. But just the Church of Blood, such a great evil. Like, it just sounds bad. Like, how dark have you gotten in your life where you're like, I'm gonna join a place called the Church of Blood?
I'll tell you what else I kind of dig, actually. I like that when Dick was arguing to form the new team, he says to the League, he's like, hey, we need someone here to take care of things every time the League runs off to space for some cosmic fight. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, have someone who stays on Earth. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Makes sense.
So, I'm really into the new direction. So, Matt, what would you rate Titans Special?
Because it was so choppy, but I did enjoy some of the art and the ideas going forward. This is 6.5.
Connor, what are you giving it?
I give it a 5.
I think I'll bump. I'll go with a 7. I think the points off are definitely for some of the art sections that aren't as good, and the fact that it keeps changing artists. But I like the setup. I like the direction. I like the team, the characters. Even the dialogue feels more confident than before from Abnett's Titans. So I like that. I'm pretty optimistic going into the next issue now, and we've already seen him turn around in one book, so I have no reason to doubt that he can't do it again. So, but we'll move on. We'll move on to the final issue of New Superman and the Justice League of China. This is issue 24. Jean Luen Yang writing, Brent Peoples on the art, and we have the Justice League of China. We have Keenan trying. He wants to go into the place in between to try and bring back I Ching. But as he points out, going into the Ghost Realm has consequences, has a cost, Keenan, and he ends up dragging the entire Justice League of China into who, by the way, Aquaman is there. Korean Aquaman is a permanent member of the team. Yeah. They start off the issue. He's very good at video games. He keeps beating Keenan in the reskinned fake Mortal Kombat, where all the Justice League of China have been put in his characters.
Yeah, that's so great. And then Robin Bot's like, oh, a new record. You beat him in 4.3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, flawless victory.
And Keenan's pissed,
Yeah.
That's good. What's funny, actually, is Mortal Kombat is owned by Warner Brothers, so I feel like they probably could have just gotten the rights to use Mortal Kombat, but whatever.
I'm sure, but we all know what they meant. It was like the Injustice fighting game. Yeah. So. But no, this was such a bittersweet issue, because I want more of Keenan, and I want to know what Yang's doing now, because I don't want to lose him in the DC quiver. Because I mostly enjoyed everything he's worked on.
I thought it was a fun issue. I've liked the run as a whole. This was kind of one of those kind of epilogue issues where, okay, they have a conflict, it pulls them into this ghost dimension, and they fight kind of like ghosts of themselves, who are either ghosts of like regrets or ghosts of the future, and ultimately fights this like the perfect man, who's a mix of both the white and black versions of Keenan, and the perfect man with the long hair.
Yin and Yang versions.
Yeah, and he fights him. And, Keenan ultimately, he kind of gets them all back to reality. But there's a lot of fun combat before then. You've got Snake version of Wonder Woman. You've got, Avery.
Alpaca version of Baishi.
Yeah, with the sort of Jokerized, face. So, no, I mean, it's a fun fight.
I like the concept of that not all ghosts have to be of dead people. Like, it could be your regrets. It could be your false hopes. And, whatever haunts you is a ghost. And
I think it's thematically works with all of the stuff with the chi and the key and the balance of mind, all that stuff. It kind of fits thematically with all that the books had, I think, up until this point.
Yeah, also Dragon Sun as some like weird fish centaur thing. That was dope. I couldn't get over that. Like, what a cool look. Doesn't make sense for a water creature, but whatever. I'm gonna roll with it. And then and Avery as like a tornado version of herself was cool. But yeah, this was a as I said, bittersweet. And that last page, it's reminiscent of the New 52 Justice League cover.
Yeah, with
the Justice League China. If People's ever goes to a con that I'm at, I would love a print of this. It looks pretty great.
Yeah, no, it's a great issue that sort of leaves everyone off in a happy place where they've kind of found peace. And it's basically Keenan learns that the reason why he's so desperate to bring Yi-Ching back is because he's actually he wants to sort of recommunicate with his parents. I mean, he says he hates his parents, they're assholes, that they did this to him and that. But he's like, nah, maybe deep down you want to actually connect with them and try and start again. It neatly wraps up all the threads of the book, I think. In a smart way. So, oh no, what happened? There was a sudden cut there, and Connor's vanished. Connor's internet's went. There's people on his street working on his internet, so we're going to have to finish the show without him. That's why he left. We didn't know this was happening. He just abruptly disappeared in the middle of a sentence.
That's pretty funny.
Well, it does mean that the next book's going to be a little weird because he's not here for it. But whatever.
That's right.
So I was just saying before I got cut off there when Connor disappeared is I forget what I was saying now. I was saying something about New Superman.
Just Superman.
It's good. Yeah. It was his own little pocket, and I'll be sad to see it gone. Hopefully, the characters don't completely disappear, and they kind of come back in some capacity down the line. But hey, it was a fitting send off. I'm into it. So the art was good as usual. People's it's been a really fun.
Again, that final page is fantastic. So. Yeah. That's great.
No, honestly, I could take a whole issue of them just playing video games and just making fun of Keenan for being shit at them, and Keenan being really self-conscious about it.
Again, I've never related more to Keenan in my life.
So now we'll rate the book out of 10 then. What are you giving it, Matt?
That's a solid 7.5. Like the art, like the story, but it was kind of just like a little one shot. We're gonna cap everything, so.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I agree with 7.5. It's really solid, but it's it's not the best of the series by any means. It's a nice send off for the characters, and that's all, and that's fine.
Especially coming off of the Dragons and stuff, which was pretty strong. I thought it was more world building. Like Yang does world building so well, and coming off of that, it's just a little bit of like a echo, I guess.
Yeah, I think my favorite stuff in the book was probably the second trade or so. I'm thinking specifically when we got Delane's backstory and the giant turtle and how that ended, and how that ended with Bakshi and her kissing for the first time, all that stuff. I thought that was excellent. That was probably my favourite part of the book, but really solid overall. So we will move on then, and annoyingly this is one that Connor reads and I don't, so Matt's going to have to do that solo. But we had Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 46, Robert Venditti writing and Clayton Henry on the art. So so what happened? Was it good? What was going on there?
So at the end of the last issue, the Dark Stars came for Guy to recruit him, and he ended up accepting, and this book starts with like flashbacks of young Guy dealing with his dad's alcoholism, and we see his dad now, who's standing outside of a bar, and he looks like he's had some rough times. And Guy shows up full Dark Stars regalia to punish him for all the damage he's done over the years. And for the Guy story, it's very. They keep doing this with his dad, making him an alcoholic or not, and back and forth, But here it's like this is what they're going to go for, and it's part of the driving force. But it also seems like the Dark Star armor reprograms. So it's like, whatever it does, it's already in you. It just brings it out because he's not acting like typical Guy. He's super aggressive. It's almost reminiscent of when he had the Red Ring during the New 52. So and we also get more of Hal and Hector Hammond, where Hal takes Hammond to Empty Planet to try to train him to use his force to try to disrupt the Dark Stars. But of course that doesn't go well as Hammond starts probing into Hal's brain and remembers what he said about you know, it wouldn't be easier just to take out the ticking time bombs, because even though Hammond was out, he was still aware of everything. And Hammond goes rogue and basically wipes Hal Jordan. Hal doesn't remember who he is, and it leaves him, looks like out of commission. We get some of John and Zod, and they're back on Jakul. And basically, they're going to use Kryptonian tech that disrupts teleportation, because that's what the Darkstars have over the Green Lanterns. They can just kind of pop in and out where they can go. But the Kryptonians, because of the Phantom Zone and other things, they have ways of dealing with this with the Sunstones. So John's basically created a machine with his construct, which always, again, goes to his building of things and how thorough everything is, that they're going to build disruptors so Zod can help them take out the Darkstars. And then finally, we get to Kyle, who finally shows up after being gone for 2 issues. And he's in prison on New Genesis because they caught Space Cabbie illegally using Mother Box technology. And Highfather basically tells him, well, we're not getting involved in this. And Kyle throws a fit because he's like, I kept Orion alive with, a fake, the artificial heart, and this is how you repay me. And Highfather's like, yeah, my word's final. I am Highfather. But it looks like Orion's upset, and he might, he'll probably go rogue, because that's what Orion does. And then at the very, very end, Guy is basically going to take out his dad, and his dad's like, no, I've changed. I've been dry for, what does he say? I'm looking. It's been a little while, but not like a lot. And the reason he was in front of the bar was he goes there to remind him of the bad times. He's like, if you go in there, only bad things follow. It's cost him his family. But he's Guy's still going to give him justice. And he gets stopped and gets pulled by these yellow tendrils. And wouldn't you know it, it's Arkello. And he's like, you're not going to kill your dad. And if you want to, you're going to have to kill me first.
He's looking after his buddy. Make sure he doesn't make a huge mistake. Look at that.
Exactly. So the bromance is still alive. It's a pretty solid issue, but it was more that Venditti jumping around. I feel like he is more service to the story when he picks something instead of jumping around too much. Like, we could have gone without Hal, I feel, here, and fleshed out more of the Kyle Rayner stuff since we didn't get him before. And the art was decent. Like, it's just been the same quality as it has been. But it's I felt like the last issue we were really ramping up towards the end, and this it felt like we stopped to take a break again for this guy and his dad stuff. But I feel like the Dark Stars, when it's all said and done, they'll end up being dealt with. But yeah, so if I'm rating it, it's a 7.5. A lot like Justice League or New Superman, Justice League of China. It's solid, but it's not, as good as it has been recently.
But it did have a big emotional point for the Arkello Guy romance,
yeah,
which is
it was a nice
thing.
Yeah, that was a nice little thing, and I wish they would just pick away with Gardner and his dad, because over the years I've been reading comics, they jump back and forth between it depending who's writing, and I feel like you need to pick an origin and stick with it, like what drove him away from his family, was his dad's alcoholism, not like, oh, well, I couldn't. During the New 52, it was he couldn't get out of his dad's shadow. His dad was a cop, and his sister was a cop, and he just couldn't live up to it. And
I think there's a joke in, because earlier on you said there was a flashback with a young guy, and there's a joke in there about you liking young guys, but I mean,
yeah, no, not so much. I like current guy.
But I mean, you can always counter that with me liking young Dick. So I mean,
Well, you like all Dick. So
I like all Dick.
Old, young, middle-aged.
Oh dear, the immature Dick jokes.
I have a gift for that. Yeah, I have a gift for that kind of stuff.
One of these things. So that will take us on though to Sideways #5. Justin Jordan writing solo this time, and it is not Rocafort in the art. I didn't change that. I meant to change that.
Yeah, it's not Rocafort, which threw me for a loop because Rocafort has such a look for the character. But I feel like the artist did a pretty good job. It was
it kept it in a similar style. It wasn't like just completely, it wasn't just a complete departure.
Yeah, it's Robert Gill, because he's
Gill, there you go.
as a storyteller with Justin Jordan. Jordan's credited for the dialogue.
Yes,
But,
yes, it's just. So this is interesting because this is the first time we've reviewed this together, because you hadn't read this at first, and then you caught up since last issue because you liked what I was saying about it. So, are you glad you caught up? Did you enjoy this issue?
Yeah, and I said this when you were describing it. It sounded like what I wanted Blue Beetle to be, and I still feel that way. We get a lot of the high school stuff and how it impacts his life.
Yeah, because the main plot of this one is that there's like a meta teenager who's basically an internet troll, both in internet and in real life. Like he'll sort of rail people up, but the more he does it, it actually affects people's moods. Like it actually does like, some sort of like empathetic link to them, and then the more they get railed up, he feeds off of that and becomes more powerful. So it's like the living personification of a bully. Or a troll. That's what he is.
It's the don't feed the troll, and I felt like there's some very meta Justin Jordan comments about.
Oh sure, yeah.
Like, are you infringing on my First Amendment right? And
there's a line stuff, like that, yeah.
You know, all the stuff that you see internet trolls do all the time, and he's basically like, he doesn't believe the stuff. He's just saying it because it gives him more power.
Yeah, because he's got the video that Derek made a couple issues ago, Sideways, where he's like, oh, this is stepping out with Sideways, and he was trying to make like a YouTube show out of his superheroing antics. And he figured out from that he goes to the same school as him, so he's like calling him out. He's calling it Sideways in front of the school, this bully. And Ernie's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't, and and stop referring to yourself as Sideways in public. You got to keep this your secret identity thing going. I like that she's kind of the smart one. Yeah.
Well, their relationship's one of my favorite things in the book because it feels like an actual, teenage relationship.
I agree. Yeah. No, I like Ernie a lot. I like the introduction of her sister Emmy, who's older, is not as, I mean, she's obviously a bit more of a typical high school girl than than Ernie is. But the joke at the end that she's got the hots for Sideways. But, and Ernie's like, you may want to see this
Ernie.
clip. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, I think we expect that him and Ernie will eventually have a relationship.
Yeah, they'll have that will they won't they thing for a while, I'm sure. But this one also, out of all of these, outside of the Terrifics, this one feels the most like it belongs in DC. Like, if they were to just drop the New Age of Heroes on this one, it feels right at home with everyone else. Like, I could see Sideways in the Teen Titans, and it would fit just right. But this whole story with the showman and him riling everybody up, and everybody's in a bad mood, even though with the way that Derek talks to his mom, it's already affecting him because of the video that it's a showman, right? Showman, show off again.
Yeah,
it's one of those two.
Yeah,
but
showman.
The video that he posted is just already affecting him, and he's super crappy to his mom, and we get some more of her at her company.
Yeah. Because the reveal at the end is that she sneaks in. She wants to see what the competition is for this internship that she was trying to get her son, and she finds out they've got footage of him using his powers in his bedroom, and she's like, "What's happened to my son?" I love that he's using his power to get like a can off his like table that's across the room.
Which, let's be real, when I was a kid, I used to want like the stretchy powers, so I wouldn't have to get up and get a can of soda. I could just sit there and stretch back. So of course, but
it works.
Yeah, and I like how Ernie figures out, like, if we can't hear him, then he has no power. So that's how she gets her sister, and then her sister just starts cutting into him as a teenage mean girl can do. Like, I've experienced this full force.
Her big sister basically bails him out twice in this issue because because Ernie sticks up to the bully in like a previous scene where the guy's just an asshole to Derek, not as Sideways, just as Derek. He kind of like gives him shit in the hallway, and Ernie steps in and shouts at him. But because like she sees this on, Emmy steps in as the big sister to give him hell for it, and it happens again later on when she gets the spell's broken and she's not like under the feeding the troll loop anymore.
Exactly.
So it's a really good meta little commentary. It's fun stuff. It's more like high school stuff. It's probably the most high school stuff we've had in this issue in the book so far. But let's not gloss over the opening couple of pages where we set up some of the ongoing plot where the Fugitoid dude, the Fuginauts, that's it. Obviously named after Tempest Fugit, all the time and space malarkey. But he's like, there's something happening. There's like we're in the was it the space between space and the time between time. It's
time, if you will.
All these, like, this is where you're rifting through every time you rift, and something's like corrupting it. I don't actually think it's you anymore. So So I think what I need to do is actually train you to help fight this, and you can actually help with this and stop this from happening. So I like that because it's giving them this greater purpose on top of just like general superheroics. But it's nicely like it's nicely going together with the general teen stuff. I think it's just the higher purpose alongside the simple saving people here or there thing.
Yeah, and that goes into, he thinks that's why he's in a bad mood, because he's just been given this responsibility of, well, now I have to be like reality police, and I have my mom, and I have school, and I'm trying to do the sideways thing. But it turns out, it's a little of that, but it's also everything else that's going on in the issue. But and also, I don't know if you read the New 52 Vibe series.
I did not.
When it was out. But so they used a lot of that in the Flash TV for Cisco, how he can, interdimensional doorways, and he can sense people from other things. That's what a lot of that series was, except he was working for Argus, so it's a little different. But that's what a lot like this Tempest Fusionaut stuff feels like. He's like, well, no, you're the guardian of the gates now. Like, you need to help us out. And that's kind of what they did to Vibe. And if they're going to make this guy like the new Vibe, that's cool. Like, again, I like when they kind of update characters and in this kind of way.
Yeah, and of course he wins the fight when he takes the showman away from the people, so he's got no power anymore. I also like there's a moment in the fight where he tries to rift away, and the showman drags him back, and he's sort of reaching for his rift. I thought that was a nice little moment. It showed like how vulnerable he might be in a certain situation. But like I said, I dug the stuff with Ernie, like, hey, my sister's got the hots for you now, and then the final reveal that his mother is finding out what he can do. So we'll see how we wrap that up next issue. But no, I'm digging this book a lot. It actually kind of hurts that it's probably not going to live that long. It'll be 12 issues, maybe 18 at a push.
But again, if they wanted to add him to any one of these teams,
that's
Teen
true.
Titans, whatever, I'm cool with that. Like, I like this character a lot.
It's a shame that we get those certain books. I mean, maybe it's doing well digitally and it'll stay alive. I don't know, but it's a shame with the comics industry how like it'll open at like 30, 40,000, and it's like, okay, it'll survive for a little while, but it's not going to last longer than a couple of trades, and then it'll be done.
That's how I felt about New Superman, and it just kept going. And I was like, okay, good. We're not. So like in baseball, when there's a perfect game or a no hitter going on, you don't talk about it. You're just like, we see what's going on. You don't talk about it till it's over. That's how I kind of feel about these smaller series. Where it's just like, we're not going to talk about it almost ending until it's not, So,
But very good. So what would you rate this one out of 10, Matt?
This was an 8. This was up there. I really enjoyed this. The art, even though it wasn't Rocafort, and I like Rocafort a lot, it fit that style that Rocafort kind of has.
It was kind of like when they took Cedric off Aquaman, but the new style kind of followed his map of this is what it should feel and look like.
Yeah. A little more rounded because Rocafort has a sharp, kind of sketchy quality to his stuff. A little bit more soft, but other than that, I'm not gonna say I missed Rocafort because the art was quality still.
Yeah. So no, I'd probably give it an 8 as well. I think it was a great issue. It's probably the best one yet, and I've said that like probably the last like 3 issues. So which means it keeps getting better. So
he didn't flinch anyone in this one though. I was a little disappointed.
That's true.
I like that running gag.
I do like when he accidentally maims someone, but I feel like they can't do that forever. But I mean, at least so far, I'm enjoying it.
But yeah.
So there you go. That side was which was actually the last book of the week, which means
finally
we can get on to picking our favourites, which we always do at the end. And I told Connor to message me his top 5 and stuff. I'm just checking to see now if he has. I don't think he has.
No, he hasn't. I just looked through.
So I don't know why he's not sending it. I thought we could still get his top 5 and stuff, but apparently not. It'll just be me and Matt. But hey ho. So obviously we do best panel / moment of the week. We do best cover, best art, and then top 5 books. So best panel / moment. Matt, what you got?
Man, so this one was tough this week because there was a lot. But again, and I go to self-parody so much, but it's got to be from Hawkman, where he's in full flight mode against the Stone Ape. It's such a good visual, and I keep just going back to it. It's a full-paged one too, so good.
I've got a few options. Like, I really want to pick something from Flash. I really want to pick something from Mr. Miracle. But honestly, I think I got to go with Man of Steel. I've got to go with when Supergirl and Superman look over at the broken city of Kandor. I think that's
a good one too.
That's the one that hit me the most this week. So I think I got to go with that. So best cover of the week. is a question to ask, and I have to look at them again.
Let's see what this variant was real quick. Yeah, not that one. I have mine, so I can go. If you
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
So mine is definitely the Mr. Miracle variant. It's like GIF, right? Gerads.
Yes.
Like that, he was worried people were going to put upside down. My shop wound up not getting. By the time I got to my shop, they didn't have any of those left, so I got the regular cover. But it's a really good looking cover.
Actually, it's quite easy that I've looked at the variants again. The Flash variant is taking it for me. That is absolutely shockingly gorgeous. Is that no one that good should be allowed to draw and paint? It's so good.
Yeah, it does have a quality of a painting.
It does.
To it.
It's just Flash running towards the camera essentially with all the lightning behind him, but it's just so well. The coloring, the rendering, the light and the shading. It's just beautiful. So that's my pick. Is the Flash variant. So best art of the week then.
Yeah.
What you got, Matt?
Oof, this one's tough because I really liked Ryan Sook, but it's hard to bet against Gerads. So I'm gonna have to give it to Mr. Miracle. Just he makes sitting at a table compelling.
No, I can't argue with that. I think overall I do have to still give it to Gerads, but I did really like the Detective Comics art. I have to admit, I really liked that. But yeah, I think I do have to go with Mr. Miracle overall. So Gerads takes it yet again. I feel like he takes it a lot whenever he does a Mr. Miracle out. But that's what we're going with. So top 5 books of the week, Matt. What are you going for?
So my number 1, and it's going to be a shocker, but I can't bet against Flash. I can't. This right now what's going on means so much to me, and I am so biased. But a close number 2 is Mr. Miracle. And then number 3 is Man of Steel. Number 4 is Hawkman. And then the 5's a little bit more difficult because everything else is kind of log-jammed except for Detective, which we all know I didn't finish. But I think I'm going to give it to... Yeah, they all give it to Sideways. It's the first time I've reviewed it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's tough. There's so many books this week. And sure, there's 1 or 2 I didn't like as much, but, it's still, a lot to pick from. I think number 1's hard. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I gave 3 books a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right? So I have to pick what's the best of those 3. And I feel like Mr. Miracle is the obvious choice, but... I actually think I'm going with Man of Steel, number 3.
Look at that!
In first place, I think I'm going with Man of Steel.
If we had people guess if I would give Man of Steel over Mr. Miracle, like that's the easy bet, right? Like, that's the So wow, making shockers.
And then I'd put Flash at 2. I'd put Mr. Miracle at 3, which tells you just how good Flash and Man of Steel were for me this week.
Yeah.
Mr. Miracle's only getting to number 3 while still being fantastic. So then it obviously gets a little bit tougher, like you say. You got those top 3 that are, by far and away. And so I'm just glancing at the rest of the books. What else did I like? Where I was handing out the 8s and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Sideways at number 4, and then Plastic Man at number 5. I was almost going to go Prelude to the Wedding, but no, I think Plastic Man takes it.
Yeah.
I think Plastic Man takes it.
It was a pretty good week. So big, but it felt good not reading Wonder Woman. It really did.
Yeah, and honestly, people were tweeting at me. It sounds like it was a train wreck of an issue.
Yeah, which I feel like if people want to give us money, I feel like maybe we could finish this run, but...
What are you saying, Matt?
I'm trying to... If people really think that we should read it, I'm saying they need to pony up. Because I'm not doing that to myself for free anymore. Like,
just to make this clear, he's talking about one of the Patreon tiers where you can make me and Connor read a book. That's what you're meaning.
I'm saying if you want to pass me on the street and be like, "Here's $10, go read Wonder Woman," that's what.
That sounds so shady, Matt. Oh, pays. We'll do it if you pay.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if it was that much of a train wreck, which I heard this issue was all Jason, that's what it's gonna take. God. I thought about after I didn't finish Tech, I was like, maybe I should read Wonder Woman.
I mean, that's the thing, though.
No.
I mean, there was 11 books total this week. Me and Connor both had 10. Of course, I didn't read Hal. He didn't read Sideways. And you read all 11. Or at least you read 10 and a half. So it was a busy week anyway, so I'm kind of glad that we'd made the choice last time to not read Wonder Woman.
And we won't have Prelude to the Wedding next time, and we won't have New Superman. So that clears off 2.
Oh, next month, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So no, that's cool. You won't have Man of Steel either.
No? That'll be done too?
You may have Superman issue 1. I think that's maybe the week 2, but I mean, whatever. But there you go. That is this week's books. Which means I tell you what's coming next week, like I normally do.
Yeah.
So week 3, where are we here? So we have Man of Steel number 4, of course. We have Batman. That's twice I've done that today. Batman, Prelude to the Wedding, Red Hood versus Anarchy number 1. Can't say. We actually forgot to mention the tease at the end of the Prelude issue. It was Harley Quinn looking for Joker.
Yeah.
So just
I
mentioned it now.
She dumped Riddler in a trunk, and then took him on a barge. Like a garbage barge.
Yes.
So,
but she's not in the next issue though. She's coming towards the end, I think. So we got Anarchy versus Red Hood next. We also have Batman 49. We have Justice League number 2. That'll be exciting. We got Green Lanterns 49, which I'm not looking forward to because we have to wrap up that horrible 2-parter that we started last time.
Oh yeah, that's rough.
But then we're on to the new run with issue 50, so we just have to get through it, Matt. We just have to get through it.
I know.
Aquaman number 37. We have Batwoman 16. We have Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman number 5. We have... Oh, no one's going to be reading New Challengers issue 2. We all hated it.
No thanks.
So that can go. Also out next week that we will not be covering is Batman Sins of the Father number 5, Damage number 6, and Harley Quinn 44. So it's a quieter week. I know for a fact that Connor will definitely be doing one of his corners. He's got 2 to do now. So he'll be doing one of those next week, I think. I'm sure he said that to me.
Did you say Brave the Bold?
Yes.
Okay, I missed when you had said that one.
And because it's quite a week, I'll maybe do mine next week. I'll do my Hawk and Dove issue for the month. Thanks, Tyler.
I can't help it.
He's so much.
Avatar of Chaos, Avatar of Order. You read that so much.
You know, I hate it because he even said to me when I was streaming on Twitch that your reaction justified his choice. It justified the pick, and I hate that so much.
I read like 8 issues of that stuff because I didn't know any better. In the New 52, I thought everything was nice and shiny and it'd be okay, and it was not okay.
Oh, there's going to be a reckoning. All right, so since Connor's not here, I think I'm just going to guess what his top 5 was, okay? And so he's not messages that. So his number 1 was Titans, obviously. He loved he loved Man of Steel. That was number 2.
Yeah.
And then he loved. What else does he not like?
He kind of. It was weird because everything that we. Titans was really the one he fought us on.
Oh, Prelude to the Wedding. He didn't like that.
Yeah.
So he loved that. That was number 3.
Yeah. And then we'll throw in Hal and Pals and shoot.
Sideways. Didn't read that. Sideways. Love Sideways. Yeah, there you go. Sure. That's his top 5. So that is the show. That is Comics from the Multiverse. Hopefully you had fun on this epic week 2 edition, and epic news edition as well, might I add. Yeah, so Geoff Johns Shazam, Heroes in Crisis, big things coming. I'm excited. So that is episode 108 of this show. So thank you very much. Obviously get us on patreon.com/MailerFuzzTV. We mentioned the Connor's Corner and then the mine, which is Peter's pick or lack thereof. I think I called mine. Those are Patreon tiers. Those are the higher ones, though. You can get some more reasonable. The $5 tier, for example, on Patreon, which gives you the bonus monthly episode that me and Connor do every month. It gets you all 3 of the Peter's Pillbox series that I do, where it's an audio only show where I just work my way through a couple of comics and I talk about them every week. I'm working through Silver Age Green Lantern right now. I'm working through the original New Teen Titans, and I'm working through Mark Waid's Flash. So that's something you may want to check out. You can support us on there, even for as little as $1. If you just want to like throw in $1, every dollar counts. And if you can't afford anything, you don't have to feel bad. You can support us by liking, subscribing, commenting, all the usual stuff. Get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast as well. But that is us. You can get me on Twitter at Wibble89. You can get Matt on Twitter
at Matt of Steel 57.
There you go. And because he was born in 57, he's really old. He looks good for his age.
No. I'm the one person I know that didn't use my birth year.
Yes.
Oh.
So get us on Twitter, and that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force. Connor sucks.